Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is going on? Today is sometime towards the beginning of August. Welcome to episode 22 of Can't Stop Playing. Thank God it's not Pod Day because you're getting 2 episodes this week, one on Pod Day and one on not Pod Day. I'm your host, Zach Ghost Robo, and joining me, as always, a man who's full of seduce me salsa, Gabe Volatile Gabe.
We went when I went to Houston. We danced something like salsa. It wasn't quite salsa, but we were dancing the night away.
I think we're gonna start taking applications for packs for like a dance group for you, Gabe, and you're gonna
I'll do it
like a music video style. Like you're gonna be in the front, and they'll like dance after you, kind of thing.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Sounds good. And we have a lot of people actually write us and say that they'd like to meet us at PAX. So I think it's gonna be more than 3 people.
4, 5,
maybe 6.
Oh, okay.
I think we have a good chance of attracting 5.
5 is like a good number,
including the 3 of us. So it's like,
yeah.
I think we can do 5. I'm pretty sure.
But Max, you're alluding to 2 because in case we get Gabe with the catch-up plans before the meetup, then we might only have 2 of us left alive.
Because I'll be dead.
Right.
Yeah, I was accounting for him being incapacitated permanently.
Yeah, and in case you aren't aware already, the third voice joining us, the Harry Potter of our own little Hogwarts, Max Blitzwinger Max.
The Harry Potter?
Well, I figure of like the trio.
Harry as in Harry or a Hairy?
No, that would be me. You're a Harry as in ARRY.
Yeah,
okay.
I figured you'd be
All
Harry.
Right,
you're like the smart one, the kind of the collected, calm one. Gabe's definitely Ron, weird fears, just paranoid about everything.
Don't tell me you're Hermione.
And then I'm pretty, so I'm Hermione.
Wow. And then I'm pretty, so I'm Hermione. And that's her only quality.
She's also very smart. She also knows like the most secretive spells. That's why I pick all the best games.
That's true.
Yeah.
And she's just in charge. That's why I'm reading the emails and all that stuff.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Why is Boo back there?
This is because the Dragon Ball Z movie is at a per theater level, it is the highest grossing movie in the country. By the way,
I saw that.
Yeah, it's been doing tremendously well, which is kind of crazy, but also really cool.
And did it give you Boo at the theater?
No, I didn't go. I got that from Gamescom. There's an entire floor at Gamescom of just like shopping, and 80% of it was like anime stuff, and they were selling a ton of Dragon Ball Z stuff, and I was like, give me that Boo.
Speaking of anime, you're going to read that email, right? Because I need to talk to that person.
I'm going to try and find it.
What is this? This is some insider trading over here.
Oh, God. Are we Martha Stewart? Who's Martha Stewart here? Is it Zach?
I don't know. Well, since Zach said he's the smart and...
Martha Stewart's pretty to some people.
Sure. I guess Zach is going to be the Martha Stewart.
I think we should have our own like Republican debate eventually, and we can all it's sort of like a school project. Like we all mock one candidate, and then have to embody them for an episode.
Sounds good.
We don't need to mock a candidate. We could just be.
Well, I mean mock like mock draft, like mock up.
Yeah, I used to do. I did a mock trial.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
In high school as a project. That was fun.
I
got way into it. This guy, he didn't want to sit down like when I was questioning him, and he didn't want to sit down. So then, as I started questioning him, and he started getting flustered because he couldn't remember all the information for the case, he was like, "Can I sit down?" I'm like, "No, you said you wanted to stand."
Oh, jeez.
So I really got into it. It was like a Hollywood type recreation, but it was good. I liked it actually. My teacher told me I should be a lawyer after that, but I was
Law
like,
and
no,
Order
thank you.
Canadian Special Unit coming soon to Fox or whatever channel airs it. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Law and Order CSP, Canadian Special Person, or Special Prosecutor.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just me doing all of it. I'm just like looking for fingerprints, figuring everything out. Then I do the depositions. I do everything.
You're also the criminal.
Good. Secretly, that's the big twist. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode. It's always the one that was the most obvious.
Now, this past week, while you guys were playing Rare Replay, I was off in Germany exploring the many halls of Gamescom and getting attacked by death clouds of smoke. But, Max, I did think of you near and dear because
thank you.
Last week you were talking about like this rap duo and how you would rap and or do these little shows. And there was a German rap duo, I believe it was at the Ubisoft booth, just going crazy. And I was like...
That was me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're all over the place, dude.
Yeah, you just didn't know. I just didn't tell anybody. That's my other identity.
Secret German rapper?
I fly to Gamescom. Yeah. I just only Gamescom. I only do Gamescom. One show a year, and I just fly in and lay the I down.
Very good.
Yeah, you spit that fire from another language, so nobody actually gets burned.
Sure.
But it's really hot.
And if they do get burned,
go.
we'll just wash them off with your loofah that's still there, Gabe.
It's not going anywhere.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
No,
but Zach did.
5 minutes before we started recording, I said, should I bring down the damn thing? So Max doesn't mention it again, but I said, no, it's staying there.
Can we get a Demon Dog update, please?
I haven't seen him for a couple days.
Demon
My little
Dog?
What?
No, my little brother, he comes and he feeds it. Like, it's not like I'm neglecting him.
You haven't seen him, though?
Not me. I haven't gone to the backyard. I've been, doing other stuff. I've been playing.
How big is your backyard? Is it like 50 acres?
No.
How do you not see a dog for a few days?
Because I'm not walking back there. It's maybe 1 acre, but I'm not like going back there. Like, not even an acre. Who knows?
But if it lives with you, like, wouldn't you like when you take it for a walk? Or not?
I don't walk. He's outside. What I got to take him for a walk for?
Oh, so he just drops bombs all over the backyard?
Yeah. See, here's the magical thing about having a little brother.
Okay.
Right?
Here's the magical thing. Okay, here we
go. My little brother comes over, right? I tell him, hey, go feed the dog. He's like, why don't you feed the dog? I'm like, I don't want to go. It's hot, okay? I don't know if you understand this.
So the dog could be dead for all we know.
No. I hear him. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. He's happy. He's well fed. He has a lot of water.
Wow. You can tell that he's happy just by, like, audio, like
every
that's
once
how
in a
good
while I'll open my window. I have a window just right over here.
You're like that. What's that reality show in America? The one where he hunts like people.
Bear
and he's
Grylls.
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
You're like him, right? You have a connection with dogs.
Yeah, Bane is fine. People were just outside with him yesterday. It doesn't have to be me as long as someone tends to him. He's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, good to know. Good to know. How are the animals in the rare replay collection?
There's a lot of animals in the rare replay collection. There is a bear. There's a bird of some kind. There is what's Conker? Is he a squirrel? Conker's a squirrel. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's
Chipmunk,
a squirrel.
I think, but okay.
There are toads. There are insects. There are
insects. That's just like one type of animal. Like, it's its own kind of like
insect.
I don't know
those
what type
insects?
of insects are in the specific games, but there's animals.
There's like ants. Yeah.
Yeah, there's animals. Max, you've played Rare Replay.
Yes,
I saw you making banjo videos, and
yeah,
I saw one, and I was like, yeah, Max is playing banjo. I got excited.
Yeah. I've never played it, so I'm really enjoying it. Except for the swimming controls, that game still holds up. Like as far as platforming and writing and music, it's great.
How do you feel? How do you feel about this being like the equivalent of Destiny, where there's like a million different types of collectibles?
Oh, okay.
Because you have the skulls, you have the
juju things.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're called. You have a lot of stuff to collect.
Yeah. It was a little bit overwhelming, especially like during the first level. I was like, "Geez, there's so much stuff to remember. I got to get the skulls, the jujus, the puzzle pieces, the
talking about Jinjos
or jujus. Wait, who are the jujus then?
That's one of the larger religions in the world.
Wait, no, that's not.
No. There is one of the.
No, I don't think there's jujus.
There's Jinjos. There's Jiggies. Are the name of the puzzle pieces.
Yeah, what's the name of the music notes?
Wait, what's the name of the guy that you give the skulls to?
Mumbo Jumbo.
Oh, okay. Well, then I made up the jujus, I guess, in my mind. I keep calling them that, which is bad. So I need to actually remember the right name. But yeah, whatever. It was a lot of stuff to collect. But as far as the I don't think we can talk about each game because that's going to be ages. Yeah, there's 30 games. But I think that as far as a collection, this is, I think, the best of its remastered or collection type things. I think this is the best by far because as much as they gave you the games, they presented them with integrity. They really did a good job with the presentation, and then on top of that, when you play the games, you earn little. It's almost like the hub world in which you select the games is its own kind of mini game.
Yeah, because stamps and everything.
Yeah. As you play the games, you earn stamps, and then those stamps can unlock videos, behind the scenes of images and videos of how Rare made a certain game and stuff like that. So it's really, really, really polished, and I mean you can't go wrong with 30 games for $30. Is I don't even know how they can do it from a financial standpoint, but it's incredible that they managed to get all of these games in one package for such a low price.
So is Banjo the one that you spent the most time with?
Yeah, I've played Banjo. Probably Banjo. Yeah, the most. I've played it Viva Pinata because that was the one that I just like most fondly remember of the bunch.
I came home to a real life Viva Pinata. That they sent me from Microsoft, and it's actually full of candy. But
you should break it.
I'm going to smash it.
No, like now.
Right now, no.
Yeah,
I want
over your head, just like Hadouken.
Poor Fudge Hog trying to animal abuse him up here live on camera.
You should just Hadouken it, or have like boo,
dude,
like
do your special punch.
Gabe,
yeah.
Perfect time for everyone to see
no
it.
one.
They're not ready. Okay,
they're not ready. We don't want to offend every viewer with all that power.
All that power. Wow,
He's
like Goku.
I threatened some of the Germans with that punch, and it didn't end well for them.
They hid under a table.
They did.
The game in Rare Replay that I spent the most time with was Conquer. I had never played Conquer's Bad Fur Day. When it came out, I was too young. They wouldn't allow me to rent it at the video store where I rented my games back in the day.
Was it called the video store?
No, it was called Top Video.
Top Video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was right above bottom video. It's like a 2-floor deal.
No, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on the podcast, but they used to do this cool thing where like you could go rent it and like you wouldn't have to pay them until you brought it back. So like you could basically just go get
essentially
it for free.
Never.
That's why it's no longer in business.
I wonder why they're not in business, those guys. I wonder how Blockbuster took over Top
didn't
Video.
Blockbuster do that as well, or for a while, where like they wouldn't charge you until the return date or something, based on how many days you took it? I don't know. Back in a time when people were trustworthy.
Yeah, but Conquer's Bad Fur Day, man, it's a fun game. It also holds up very well. Like it's not as crude as I thought it was going to be. Like it is sort of, but
when you guys say that they hold up well, because I play,
they're still fun to play. Like they look like.
Well, I'm not talking about even graphics, but like I played Donkey Kong 64 a little while ago, and like I felt like that game felt like it was like decades old. Maybe Banjo and Conquer just made better, but
maybe.
Like the
I don't know. The controls of this, like I'll admit that the controls for swimming were pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're annoying,
swimming's
I'm
terrible.
happy that they've changed since then. But the writing in the game, like just being kind of like quirky and fun and goofy, the music, and again, like you have to understand that obviously going into this, like I'm not comparing it to like, you know, a new Mario game in terms of graphically or polish, but the music, the writing, and like the platforming and such, the exploration is actually quite well done. So
even the level design, it's still like super cool to explore those levels, even though you may or you may not know them, depending if you played them. But yeah, never playing Conquer. I got through the second boss, and it's been a good time.
Do you notice, like, because the one thing that stood out to me about DK was so much wasted space. Like, I feel like now when you play like a Mario game or whatever, everything is very contained, and there's like massive levels. And I remember Banjo being similar, where you're like, holy crap, like you spend a lot of time just walking. Did that bother either of you?
I only played like past the tutorial stuff, like where the mole is like showing you how to do everything. Maybe there's a little bit of extra walking, I guess, getting from one point to another, but I didn't play too many other levels for me to be able to comment on that.
It's a case by case basis in terms of levels, because like when I went into the Treasure Cove, what was it called? Tavern Treasure Cove or something like that. The second level, I think. The first one was like Mumbo Mountain or something like that.
Yeah.
So in the second level, it did feel at first like, wow, there's a lot of like just open room. But the good thing that they do is like it's still like in most areas where it's like open space, there'll still be like something there that you can like is secret or you need to find, and once you find it, you then are able to interact with it or like find some sort of collectible in there and so on and so forth. So it didn't feel like it was underpopulated or anything like that. It felt like it was still dense enough, and like I wasn't at any point feeling like, oh wow, there's like nothing to do in just this giant area. There was still always, if there's an open space, there would always be like one big structure in the middle or something like that kind of like motivated you to go through that open space to get there. So I don't know, like to me, I was genuinely surprised by how good the game is. I know that obviously it's pretty highly regarded, but I was still surprised about just how good it is. And I don't know. I think they did a really, really great job, and there's a reason why people love that franchise.
For sure.
I forgot how many attacks there were in that game. There's a lot of ways to attack because you have the two variations of the egg throw. You have the stomp. You have the somersault stomp, and then you have the regular thrust, and you have another attack. Like, there's a lot of attacks in the game. Remember,
I didn't know how to defeat Nipper, the crab on the beach, and you have to do like that little tap attack where you jump and then you peck at him in his eyeballs. So everybody was in the comments like, do this, and I'm like, okay, thanks guys, I appreciate that. I defeated him.
Either of you have a chance to dip into like it sort of reminded me of like NES Remix. There's like it's for the older games where they combine like a bunch into little mini games.
Yeah, that's also cool. Yeah, because they have like little challenges.
I got through the menus and then I blew up my Xbox, so I didn't have a chance to play.
Just for fun?
In Europe, apparently, most stuff like my laptop, my phone charger, even PS4 would have been totally fine. But apparently, the Xbox Power Brick doesn't have like the dual, dual converter or whatever built in.
Like surge.
Yeah, so you need a converter, and I didn't. So I went to plug it in. I was all excited, set up. The TV had HDMI ports, and it was like, poof, and the Power Brick just started smoking.
Oh.
Did
the fire alarm go off?
No, it wasn't that bad, but I
imagine what a story would we have had this week if you had the fire alarm go off in Germany in a hotel room. Imagine.
That would have been amazing. Well, and then
you probably would have like jumped out of the window into like a pool or something just to get out of there.
Later that night, I was at the Mafia 3 reveal event, and Major Nelson was there, and I went up and asked him. I was telling him about my Xbox problem, and he was like saying like, "Did this happen?" And I was like, "No, it was smoking." He's like, "Yep, you're done for, man." And I was like, "Can I have a new Power Brick? Don't you guys have like a
Power Brick station somewhere?"
And they're like, "Oh, we'll look at it for you," and they never did. But Major Nelson's a very cordial and cool guy.
Nice.
As you expect him to be.
Really?
How was Gamescom in general?
Oh,
not
my
the
God.
games, but like the people, the country. Well, I guess we should talk about Germany, not Gamescom then.
The food.
The country of
food. Oh, yeah,
the food. Let's start with the food.
Okay, that was a bad... Oh, my God.
Well, I didn't eat really anything.
God, you're the lamest world's traveler. Like,
okay,
if you ever had like an Anthony Bourdain type show, like whenever they present you something, you're like, excuse me, is that gluten free? Excuse me.
Okay, here's what I had. All right, I had. Okay, let me just break it down for you. So at the Mafia event, my first experience with German foods at the Mafia event, and they had like some meat wrapped in bacon. I was like, no. Then they had some other meat and some cheese and potatoes and stuff, and I was like, no. And they had some other meat and some other meat, and I was like, no. And then they had cigars, and I was like, no. And
that's not food, but okay.
And then
I hope they weren't eating them. I mean, I don't know. Look, it's been a while since I've been to Europe, but maybe there's a big trend.
Then I got my goodie bag, and it had a gigantic bottle of expensive whiskey, and I was like, no. And then at the hotel.
That's for me.
The hotel.
The whiskey's for me, right, Zach?
No. The hotel, they had the fitness salad, it was called. And the fitness salad is where me and Germany really bonded, because the fitness salad was grilled chicken, which was very delicious. Some vegetables like lettuce and peppers and corn and different things. And then whatever fresh fruit they felt like throwing on. One day it was like apples and watermelon and berries. The next day it was like cantaloupe and pineapple and kiwi. Very eclectic.
So essentially, you just ate that every single day.
Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did at.
This is coming from the guy that said, "Oh yeah, I'll try out a lot of things."
All I saw was beer and meat, and none of those looked good. I had gelato.
Sounds like a good time.
Gelato starts with G. Is that German?
I don't think that their food is like cuisine is not classified by the letter of the country. But okay, try.
Okay, I had strawberry and tiramisu gelato.
There you go. That's good. Did you try any schnitzels?
Don't even know what that is.
Wieners.
No,
like hot dogs.
I'm telling you,
they're not.
They're like. Isn't that what
schnitzel is like? It's like a piece of meat. It could be different types of meat. I think you could even do it with chicken. I'm pretty sure. So that what they'll do is like they'll bread it and then it's like fried. They do it with eggplant.
One of those things.
Okay. Well, I was at the Cologne Cathedral, which is like one of the oldest cathedrals in the world.
Yes.
Beautiful building. I'm normally not into history, but that thing was incredible. There was all these priests walking around. I felt like it was Assassin's Creed. I wanted to like climb up and stab. Well, let me not say that, but someone might have done. Someone. It just gave me that vibe. It was like, man, there must be an assassin up in the rafters. Where is he? I was looking all around.
Yeah.
and it was very peaceful in there. No one was even talking.
No assassins.
No assassins. Just me talking in my videos. And
you should have brought like one of those like mobile like game recording things,
played
and just started playing Assassin's Creed inside, and just like put like a face cam on so that you could see the cathedral.
What would have been amazing is to bring a drone with a GoPro on it and fly it up to like see all the stained glass, and then they probably would have been like, "What is this heresy?" and thought like Satan had spawned or something.
Okay.
Anyhow,
move on from the cathedral.
So outside the cathedral, there was a whole village of dwarves. No.
Stop.
Wait, you mean in the city? Like
no.
Oh, okay.
There was a bunch of food, and I was looking at the tables to see what people were eating, and I swear it was just beer. I swear no one was even eating food. It was just beer.
You can't eat beer.
Well, that's all they were having, beer and cigarettes.
Technically you could, because it has a lot of what's the name of the I don't know how it's called in English. Well, it's made like out of bread types.
Yeah.
So technically it is filling, so you could eat beer.
But there was
you're still drinking it though. You're not eating it.
Yeah.
So much beer consumption, so much tobacco consumption. So I just went for the gelato.
Okay.
So gelato
what did you
and
eat?
fitness salads. That's basically
I also had
the diet.
I also
of
had a
Ghost.
chocolate piece of chocolate cake with raspberry sauce at the Black Ops 3 event.
Wow.
Served by
That
a
was
German
impressive.
person.
So that's why he loves Black Ops 3 now. Guys.
I also had sparkling water, which was all over. Like it was incredible that like everywhere you went, the bottle of water was either like flat or like fizzy, like two choices.
Yeah, it's very popular. I would imagine. I don't remember. I remember when I lived in like Israel and stuff, it was very common. And then here, I was like, oh, okay, people don't really like it that much, I guess.
But Gamescom in general, like incredibly passionate vibe. I think it was even more. I mean, PAX feels very positive, but like there was just extreme excitement there, and probably because the quantity of people was in the 300 to 400,000 range. Everybody's super pumped. The booths were super full. 200-minute wait for Mario Maker. Hour-and-a-half wait for Unraveled. Like these games that you'd think wouldn't even draw crowds are having multi-hour waits. I mean, God forbid you tried to wait for Battlefront or Black Ops or something like that. Literally,
that's the only downfall of these big conventions, in my opinion, is like, I think the nicest thing about it is like if you can go there with a group of friends and just kind of like hang out and like talk games, because waiting for these games is just sometimes so lengthy. Like, and sometimes you'll get like 10 minutes with the game, and you're like,
and the weird part was like at PAX they have a huge indie section, and a lot of times you can wait 5-10 minutes at least, get some time with something cool. But here it was so, I guess, more mainstream. There was some indie stuff, but it was so much more just like big and boisterous.
Publishers,
So literally, like if you went there just as like a average dude, you would have played maybe 1-2 games in the day. But I was surprised by how many groups of just kids were there. Like at PAX, it's always like parents with kids, but there's a lot of like young kids, like my little brother's age, like 13, just like with 5-6 of their friends running around, which was cool to see, just the excitement. But it was crazy hot.
They're all drinking the beer.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Just a lot of hype and a lot of excitement, and I mean, it was totally different than in the business center, because there it was like air conditioned and quieter and people were just doing their thing. But in like the actual show floor is just like mass chaos, but in a good way. That was like, wow, like it's incredible to see games have
organized chaos.
Yeah, have such a worldwide appeal as well. Like huge excitement all around.
Cool. Good job, Germany, representing, making it look cool. Yeah, it was definitely a cool vibe from the whole thing. Like watching it from back home, it seemed like there was high energy, so that's good.
And honestly, I was at the Xbox press conference there, and I think it was a stronger conference than their E3 show.
Yeah, of course. Which everybody agrees on that.
Yeah, which it was cool to be there. I've never been in a press conference, and so that was like an
except for when
experience.
They started talking about the TV stuff again.
Yeah, or like they brought you knew you were in Germany because like farming simulator, train simulator, like
everybody's like, oh god, no, please, you were doing so well. What happened?
Yeah, but I got to see and play a bunch of stuff. So I figured you guys just shout out what you want to hear about, and then we can go from there and kind of discuss it a little bit.
Right. Quantum Break.
Man, I think that game looks so much better than it ever has before. Like they finally showed proper gameplay. I saw a much more extended demo than what was shown publicly, and got a lot of details on how they're kind of weaving in the TV show, because that's still alive and well, not in the same capacity as before, but it's really cool to see Remedy very committed to storytelling. You know, we loved like The Last of Us or some of the BioShocks or Alan Wake, and it's cool that a big AAA game that's an exclusive is having such a heavy story focus. And I think the combat looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how that will. It seems like a game that's going to really. You feel very overpowered, at least from what I've seen. Like, I don't know how you would ever die when you can freeze guys, you can basically teleport, you can, there's so much at your disposal. But I think that game looks absolutely fantastic, and some of the story sequences I saw, they're really, really cool.
And I've told you this, but the TV aspect is what worries me the most, because I know Remedy can make a good game. The gameplay will be good, and all that's going to be fine, I think. But the TV stuff, like, how low budget is it? Like, because it's for a game. Stuff like that is what I wonder about. But you said these are notable actors, like Dominic Monaghan's like the main character, isn't he?
He's not the main character. The main character is an X-Men. I believe he's Cycle. Is
he was Iceman.
Iceman, okay.
Yeah.
He's the main guy. And then I don't know their names, but I recognize other actors from network TV here. And it's definitely like high budget. Like, they filmed it in a way that I felt looked pretty good. And the way that it's going to work, they filmed, I guess, 8 episodes of the show, and they're roughly like 22 minutes long. And there's 4 acts in the game, so you will get an episode between the acts of the game. So 4 episodes after Act 1, after Act 2, after Act 3, and after Act 4. So you're basically getting about 80 minutes of feature film length of the show. And the way that kind of breaks down is at the end of each act, you make a critical choice. And this is where it got really cool. And I don't know how much of this has been talked about, but you play as the main guy. I don't even remember his name, Jack or something like that. And he's trying to stop this villain who used to be his friend, who's basically, it's this battle of like, is time and destiny preset or can it be changed? And the bad guy feels like time is already determined, and so he's just living out this future, and your character is trying to change that. But at these critical junctures at the end of each act, you actually get to play as the villain. And people were asking, like, is it just like play as him, like, oh, pick A or B, or actually play? But no, you actually get to control him as a secondary character, which I think is really cool. I don't know for how long, but you will be able to explore the environments and stuff, and then make a choice that then determines which episode you see. Now, they were kind of careful to say that it's not 2 totally different episodes. It's like 2 episodes by design, like cookie cutter, right? So like if you choose, the example they gave is at end of one of the acts, you'll be able to either spare this critical character or kill this critical character. And so then based on that, some of the scenes in that episode and obviously subsequent episodes would be replaced or would be different, whatever. So my guess is it's not really like 8 episodes of like, oh, it's 160 minutes. It's more like 4 episodes with different scenes.
Variations.
Now, that is where I got a little bit worried, because everything sounded great until that point. Because now if you're just going to like, hey, we have scene A1, and then A2, and then, B3, and then A4, and then B... Like, how is that going to flow and work without feeling weird? But I think it's an interesting idea. It's something that's never been done before, and the characters do look a lot like their in-game counterparts, and some of that stuff in Alan Wake where they would go like to what was it called, the fake like Twilight Zone show, something, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Something Falls, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God,
Bright Falls or
something.
I don't remember.
That.
But anyway, something Falls. You're right.
Yeah,
I think it was something
that I thought was really cool, and they were always like interesting, weird, kind of creepy little bits. The only thing I do worry about is like setting your controller down for 20 minutes is a little much. Like,
Metal Gear.
Yeah. Metal Gear did it plenty.
Yeah.
Metal Gear did 40 something, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's true, but that's still in game. I just don't know how much this is going to be weird. Like, hey,
I don't know. For some reason, this game is just like, I'm not saying that's going to be bad or anything like that. It's just, to me, I'm like, there's nothing about the game that was shown that made me go like, ooh, that looks like something that I want to play.
What I really loved,
I don't know, just didn't appeal to me.
Environmentally, like, this is something that, like, if I was going to make a game, I'd always wanted to do, where the environment is shifting and changing as you're moving through, because there sort of is this like dual timeline thing going on, and time is kind of like rupturing or whatnot. So you'll have instances where you're going through and the whole world kind of looks like it's like changing around you, where things are like half falling and then coming back or breaking apart, or very cool effects. And I gotta say, like, the exclusives that Microsoft has all look significantly better than majority of the other stuff, like Quantum Break, Halo 5, Scalebound to a degree, especially Tomb Raider, like graphically, they look better than almost anything else on the Xbox One.
Crackdown looked really good too. So
yeah, and I don't know, like they just have a very strong lineup, and I like the commitment to.
I just hope that it's like they're actually good games because visually we've been burned on the Order 1886 looking incredible before, right? Like we've gotten games that look interesting and sound even interesting in theory, but then when you play them, they're kind of like they're just not fun.
Yeah,
and that's something that like I hope that they can nail because. Like, Scalebound was my most anticipated game to see at Gamescom. I was like, I want to see something from this. And coming out of Gamescom, I'm kind of like, I hope that the finished product, since it's not coming out for, hopefully, at least until fall of 2016, right? Because
holiday 2016 is what they were saying, yeah.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't be even surprised if it gets delayed, because considering how it was running now, I mean... That's not that much time left for them. Like a year sounds like a lot, but it's not that much for a game of that scale. So,
and we can move to that next. Just quickly wrapping up, wrapping up Quantum Break. Like I just feel like it's going to fit in that disappearing genre of like those story-driven, more linear games. And I hope that the cool combat that they've clearly spent a lot of time on will draw in people who are more of the open world, you know, not story fans. I do think, like, between Sunset Overdrive, Halo, Forza, Quantum Break, like, they have a very eclectic lineup, and it's nice to see them not just going, like, shooter. Like, they still all have shooting in them, but in different ways, you know, and I don't know, like, again, I harp on it all the time, but, like, The Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII, like, to me, those don't compare to this lineup at all.
Fun fact, Quantum Break is my, like, the game I'm most excited for, like, for next year. Could be because the TV stuff, even if it sucks, right? Like at least they're trying something that's never been done before.
More than Horizon?
I don't think Horizon's a next year game.
I think it has to be.
Fall. I think it's coming out. That's going to be their fall game.
Okay, so then those are the two, Quantum Break and Horizon. Those are the two big ones that I'm excited for. So
cool.
Scalebound. Also, Quantum Break April. That's soon.
I had the opposite effect with Scalebound than Max did. I wasn't excited for this thing at all, but after seeing it, I am excited because it's not what I thought it was.
Because it was running at 21 frames per second?
Well, that I have hope that they're going to fix, obviously. But the game is more RPG than action, apparently.
Kind of.
It looks
the problem
like
is, like,
Xenoblade.
essentially,
like, it looks like
the
Final
gameplay
Fantasy.
was like, okay, here's some fighting, which Platinum is typically very good at. You know, like, that's the one thing you can typically kind of go to them for, but I feel like oftentimes we kind of forget, like, they are more hit or miss, especially lately, than they used to be. Like, I think they used to be a lot more, like, always nailed down, like, no matter what, they had great games. But in recent years, they've had some stinkers. So I think
Korra, right?
Korra.
That was like a second team.
What was the other? Yeah, but that's still them. Like, you can't, like,
Sure.
say that, right? Like,
besides Korra, what is it?
Okay, I'll bring up specifically. There was something else. I don't remember what.
While you're doing that, like, the thing I'll touch on is my instant reaction was disappointment because I was hoping for, like, oh my god, give me crazy DMC Bayonetta combat in this crazy huge dragon world, or let us control the dragons. But then the more I saw, and I got to see an extended demo from Kamiya himself, which was pretty cool. I guess I'm glad that they're doing something a little different because at a certain point, if you're just going to have, like, crazy fighting and switch out the characters, that just becomes the same game. Like,
Anarchy Reigns and The Wonderful 101. Those weren't incredible
Wonderful 101
games.
is very cool.
It's a cool game, but it's not an incredible, like, it's not on par, especially for combat systems. Because that's what, to me, like, Platinum, when I think of them, they're, like, it's Bayonetta, it's Devil May Cry-esque, like, that crazy combos. That's kind of what, like, I think of when I think of Platinum. So,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It just looked like they were kind of like trying to do too many things at once. Like, they were like, here's a combat thing, and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, now here's this monster hunter type thing where essentially when the monster just comes at you, it's a quick time event, you press and you launch yourself over. Like, you don't even, there's no like part of where you would scale the beast. He literally like pressed a button, like flew over on top of the monster and attacked it. Like, it looked to me like it was trying to be kind of like two things at once. I would have much preferred if they did it where, like, I'm just the guy and that's it. Like, don't do all this, like, other extra hunter type stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but right now, going into Gamescom, that was my most highly anticipated, and maybe that's why I was disappointed by what we saw.
Yeah, I was surprised because it looks like RPG-ish, right? Like, Zach, you had said, hey, it sort of looks like Xenoblade. I had sort of said, like, it looks like one of the more recent, like, Final Fantasy games, like, just combat-wise and the world and everything. That's what it looked like to me, and if they could do a cool one like that with, like, cool story. The headphone thing looks ridiculous to me. I mean, I don't understand it. But, I don't know. I was, maybe, again, the opposite effect. You were so excited for it that you got disappointed. I had, like, no expectations for it, so now it looks kind of cool. So
let me give you a few extra details and see if this changes either of your opinions. First off, like, I feel like Platinum tries to bring sort of like the Japanese style and make it cool for Western audiences. Like, Bayonetta is a very Japanese-esque game that then carried over with Western appeal. Here there is full-on RPG stuff. There are full-on towns with NPCs. There are full-on item shops, customization of your dragon, skins for the dragon. You can customize a bunch of his body parts like tail, neck, wings, arms, head. You can get armor. There's rare armor or like legendary sets. You will be able to change the element of the attack of the dragon. The dragon is not controllable except for like a contextual prompt like go there or attack here. But there's some interesting systems there where I saw about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes beyond what was shown at games like the press conference. And when you kill a monster yourself, you get these red gems that pop out of it, which basically is like currency, XP, that kind of stuff. And if the dragon kills them, that doesn't happen. So you kind of have to balance, like, you could just walk through the game and have the dragon be attacking everything and try to stay back, or you could do it yourself. The dragon can die. They went to a more interior area, and the dragon then couldn't get there, so he had to kind of like fly around and was only available to attack from a certain angle. Some interesting like design systems going on there, where it's not just like, oh, you're walking through a dragon in a big open field. And they did kind of tease at the co-op thing when we saw at the end of the trailer, like, oh, you're fighting this giant Hydra boss and there's 3 other people. Someone asked a question about PvP, and they said they were talking in Japanese, so I couldn't understand, but then they said, today we're only talking about the cooperative element of multiplayer, which leads me to believe there's going to eventually be some sort of player versus player.
PvP, yeah.
And, you know, and imagine, like, granted, if they can get the frame rate down, 4 dragons and 4 dudes, if they're all customized, could be very cool. The other thing was that they said that they were showing only a very small subsection of what the game is. Kamiya said that he loves dragons and wanted to make his dream game about dragons. And so he said, imagine the things that you would do with dragons, and those are the kind of things I'm trying to put in the game. Because someone asked if you would fly on the dragon or have more like Panzer Dragoon, like shooting segments or something like that. And he wouldn't say yes or no, but he said, think of things that you would like to do with a dragon. That's what I'm trying to put in, which to me was like, yeah, there is going to be more modes of gameplay.
He's going to try to put them in. Like, that's what it is.
It's got to be close. If it's a year away, like...
Well, but that's the thing. That's why I'm worried about it. Because if it's running like this already, and they're saying that they have... it's a huge game, how do you get the whole game to run perfectly well? Yeah, or at least at 30 frames by that point? Again, I've never been like a super frame person, but here it was like really noticeable. Like oftentimes you could see that there was
and they were
like
playing it
stutter
live
reactions,
and it did have some slowdown. I mean, they were showing environmental destruction, which I don't know if that was in the trailer, which looked kind of cool.
A little bit. I think he destroyed like a rock or something.
Yeah, and this one he was like knocking over a bunch of trees and things like that. And
yeah, I mean, like, again, I just want to be like clear. I want this game to be amazing. Sure. Like, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
I just wish they would have like contextualized. First of all, that's the number one thing is like whenever you do a story game or something like this, even with like Quantum Break, I feel like as much as we know what the game is about, we kind of like, they just said like, oh, it has this like rupture event thing going on. Like, it's so like, what? Like,
so nebulous.
What's the context? Yeah. Like, there's no context to any of it. Same thing with this guy. Like, he lands, he's listening to like a radio music, like he's got like beats on his head, right? He looks kind of like super modern and technological, but then you've got dragons and like old school like armor. And to me, it's like, okay, that's kind of conflicting, you know? Like, right. I don't see those themes blending in. So what is the context of this world? Like, who is he? Why is he here? Like, you don't have to tell me the whole story, but at least give me like some type of a like ground basis. Like, this is so-and-so, and the world is inhabited by dragons because...
His name is Drew, by the way.
Sure.
Awesome name. But I think you're underestimating how much a year is. A year is a long time. And it's not like this game's like early in development. Like, it seems like a lot of this is already made, and now they just got to get it running the way that we want it to run. So a year for doing that seems like a reasonable amount of time.
The other thing is,
at least that's what I think. I don't know.
the other thing is really,
I mean, I have a feeling like if it's really fall 2016, it probably will get pushed if it keeps running like this.
Yeah, that's another option that they could go with.
what's interesting to me is I had a lot of conversations with PR people and just kind of discussing how games are presented and how you first show them to the public is very, very tricky.
Important.
A lot of times they make a wrong move in terms of, do you sort of like and
Go
vomit
story
every
or gameplay? Yeah, which
every
way do
feature you
focus?
have? Do you only show them a little bit so that you have more of a build-up as you go and can reveal more? Like, Scalebound clearly took the approach of, dragons are cool, it's really big, let's show people that, and we have a whole lot that we're holding back in terms of multiplayer, in terms of, what other things you do with the dragons, the different dragons. Someone also is very keen to point out on one of the customization screens, one of the menus they didn't scroll through was type, and it said Rex was the type. And so they asked Kamiya, are there going to be other types of creatures? And he said, at this time, we're only talking about the Rex dragon. So that leads me to believe that maybe you can capture, recruit, buy.
Sure, have like maybe a Pokemon type mechanic
which
in there as
seemed
well.
really cool.
Sure.
And just like very interesting in terms of like, okay, Quantum Break, do you show the story sequences from the show and from that, or do you show the combat? Like what is going to lure people to put their pre-orders down? And just talking about even interesting elements of carryover pre-orders, which I didn't even think about in terms of, okay, if kids are all going to pre-order Black Ops 3 or Battlefront, because those are the big things, and then they don't pick them up, GameStop will call and say, hey, would you like to roll this pre-order over to something else? So for example, like Battleborn coming out instead of in December or November, coming out in February, apparently Dying Light was very successful with this carryover thing of like, hey, then why don't we roll it over to the next big thing early in the year, and that can really help your sales. So there's a very interesting world. But the thing that kept me like positive about Scalebound is that you could very much tell there's a lot that they haven't revealed, and it must be part of the plan to roll this thing out. To give you a tiny bit of context, this guy is sent to this magical dragon world. There's an energy source that he is somehow able to tap into. You see him look at his arm, and it's all like dragoned out.
Yeah.
He doesn't start the game like that. That's over time he bonds with the dragon and becomes more like one with the dragon and acquires different moves. I don't know if eventually he becomes all Dragon
Avatar.
Boy. Yeah.
That'll be good.
Also, they showed tons of different weapons in the demo I saw. So there is much more in terms of like long pole weapons and swords and a bunch of stuff. So
yeah, I mean it's going to get compared to Skyrim no matter what. Like now, if this is where the direction they're going in, they're going to have to like
do you think
scale.
Skyrim or do you think like Horizon?
You know what I'm thinking?
Skyrim.
I'm thinking Breath of Fire. You guys remember that?
No.
Oh my god, Breath of Fire was a straight up JRPG where you played a little boy and you could physically like transform into a dragon, and they had different types of dragons, and you could like mix them, and like so you get Dragon A and Dragon B, you combine them, you turn into like a crazy bigger dragon, different element types, super JRPG. But I wonder if like, because a lot of what you're saying sort of sounds like this, because I mean we saw that he had the scales on his hand, like he was slowly transforming. Like you said, if it ever goes like full transformation. When you were saying all that, I was basically just thinking Breath of Fire. Breath of Fire 3 specifically.
I mean, this is all real time, so it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, what
like
I'm saying
turn-based.
more from a standpoint of what you're exploring, the themes they're presenting, with that whole dragon being like the main kind of like anchor point, and then around that we build a world. So I think it's going to be a tough... Like that's why I would have much hoped that this would have been more of a linear game, and that's kind of like based on the first trailer we saw. I was like, okay, this is going to be a more linear experience. And is this the first time the Platinum is doing like an open world game?
Yeah,
I think
so.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes too, right? Because you gotta remember that that's a very different style of game.
And there was tons of attacks. Like in the trailer, you see him throw like a shock mine onto this mantis, and then the dragon breathes fire, which activates the shock mine. In the demo I saw, he was firing energy out of his hand, attacking with the weapon, like a ton of different stuff going on. It did remind me a lot of Final Fantasy 15, except with even more real-time combat than 15 had. And just in terms of like big, sprawling, natural-looking spaces, giant creatures, you don't have a party like you do in FF15. But I think if they find a way, and nothing against like the personas or whatever, but if they find a way to like evolve the JRPG, like that could be very cool. Like borrow some elements from Western RPGs and still keep like all the stats and the gear and the towns of that with, I don't know, just like it could be an interesting mix.
Cool.
what's next? Pick one more.
Okay, yeah. Max, you want to pick this one?
You what else?
I want to hear about Crackdown.
Let's do
but that's
Crackdown.
just me.
Let's do Crackdown,
Sure.
then. So Crackdown 3. Are you guys big Crackdown fans at all? 1 or 2?
No.
I liked
me
1
neither.
a lot. I liked 1 a lot. That was a fun game. 2 was like kind of like okay.
I've never touched 2, and I've played like maybe 2 hours of 1. So
No,
I'm
1
not
was
big into
great at the time. That was like amazing
game,
because like it was a huge popular game.
Yeah.
I think that out of everything we saw, like from Microsoft, this was the game that like surprised me. This was what Scalebound was for Gabe, where I was going into it, I was like, not that interested in Crackdown. But then going out of this was like, whoa, that was really, really cool. Because they show like very interesting things, like technologically, what they're going to be able to do. Like all the breakable environments and like seeing them more in like the real world looks interesting.
Yeah, I didn't play a whole lot of Crackdown, and it was funny because they're like, did you play Crackdown 1? And I was like, yeah, I played a little Crackdown 1. Didn't really like 2. And they're like, we're fine with that. We didn't make 2. And I was like, oh, okay. But I'm going to straight off the bat give you, like, you probably already know it, but what I feel is, like, the bad news and see how you take it, which is that destruction that they're touting is multiplayer only.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I figured that because it's cloud-based, so you need to be connected to the
No, but I'm not even saying, like, it's not in campaign at all.
That's fine. I'm sure there's some.
But not at that level at all.
Oh, that's fine.
You're cool with that.
I have no issue with that.
Okay. I just
'Cause
think,
it's
like,
not
as
just
touting
the
as, like, the
destruction.
biggest feature and then saying, like, actually, it's not in the campaign is, like, a little bit bait and switch, kind of.
Well,
a little
there's
bit.
destruction in the campaign, though. It's just not this level.
I mean, the destruction
of
that in the multiplayer is insane. It's literally unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
they showed us all these, like, what do you call them? Like,
So what did you play? Did you play the
I played
solo
multiplayer.
or
I played multiplayer.
Okay.
Yeah, but what they this is one that I actually got hands-on time with, and they showed all these kind of like analytics where they would show like, okay, here is it using the power of the Xbox One, and then as more destruction happened, it would shift over to using a cloud server, and got up to using like 14 servers, which is in theory 14 times the power of an Xbox One, and literally the pieces are being stored and shared simultaneously on different servers. So like they showed a building crumble and they color coded it based on server, and as like the pieces fall from one area to another, they're
jumping to different servers.
Yeah, and
wow.
And I was like,
cool.
I hope to God you guys get these servers, right, and
Right.
Microsoft can hold
Yeah.
that cloud up, because imagine, I told the guy, I'm like, have you ever had instances where like a piece goes and it's like, wait, where'd that whole chunk of building go, because it just vanishes or lags out? But apparently, because of the cloud or the way it works, there's no chance of that. But the destruction it's insane. And to me, the most impressive bit was when they showed breaking a building and it falling into another building, and then sort of the chain reaction of then that building breaking. Every piece is physical, so everything that falls off moves on the floor. You can run into it, bump into it, it bounces. Nothing disappears. Over time it does. And I asked them, in theory, could we level the entire city, or how fast do things respawn? Within your multiplayer session, things will not respawn. So you could spend hours literally leveling the entire city, which I said that's going to be like a crazy YouTube video, like first person to destroy the entire, multiplayer city. But like the fact that they had to find a way to I don't know if it's procedural or what, model the insides of buildings, because since you do have like epic jumps and all that, you can like shoot up through a multi-storied building and jump through the floors, and there has to be space there for you to land and see stuff. Pretty crazy. And just in terms of like blowing a hole in a wall, being able to run through the wall, it all has to be created. That can't just be like a texture or a wrapping. It has to be an actual physical space, which was just super impressive. And just some of the ideas of, hey, go have your friends stand up on this bridge, and then, okay, I'm going to be a jerk and shoot down this, support beam, so then they all fall down. Or just ways that it's incredibly lifelike in terms of, hey, this building is, leaning over this, street, and so it's very left heavy. So if we shoot it so that, it just starts to crumble to the left, or, different things like that. Go ahead.
The destruction is like Scream Ride. Like even when Scream Ride came out, they said, well, this destruction is sort of just like a small piece of what the Crackdown one is going to be. So on the trailer that they showed all the destruction, the way that you're saying that the buildings fall to whatever side is like more
it's
heavy.
Scream Ride,
Yeah, dude, it's totally Scream Ride. It's awesome.
I mean, they essentially like built like a whole city with physics in mind, and like actually like full on structures and like weight and gravity and everything in mind, which that's the impressive part. And again, going back to what you said, what do you show? I think that's a big selling point to people,
for sure.
Even if it's multiplayer only, because look at GTA. I think GTA mostly right now survives on the online,
it does.
Not on the fact 100%. That it has a storyline. So I think people love the ability to go in and drop in with friends and go do some crazy mission and then do some sort of jump missions with cars. So imagine this, but here the entire city is at your leisure.
Yeah, and different weapons. It's like a playground, an infinite playground. They did talk about campaign as well. They've learned from the past games in terms of what people liked about like the agility orbs or whatnot. Some of the things with agility orbs, like chasing them, people got very frustrated. So they removed that. An interesting bit I thought was that they wanted to place more of an emphasis on being able to tell a narrative, and they said it's very hard when their game is about these crime lords that you can attack in any order. There's no linear structure. So how do you make a story when the person could fight boss number 20 before boss number 1, after boss number 4, and the way that they've done that is they have a system where there's all these points throughout the world that they can sort of pipe in
specific missions into.
Well, no, but like, how do I want to say this? Like, the example they showed was a boss that you fought. He was sort of like this samurai warrior guy, and there's all these different signs and screens and whatnot where he could appear, his face could appear, or interfaces that his face could be on a building. So no matter where you are in the city, the boss that you're currently engaging with will be able to follow you around and talk to you and kind of interact with you. So it's not like, oh, I've already destroyed that part of the city, or I've already killed that boss, so like things don't make sense. They have it. So there's all these nodes of story interaction. So whoever you're currently going after will be able to kind of follow you no matter what, which I thought was like a clever way, and interesting that they wanted to put emphasis on like, hey, we'd like to still tell a cool story here. I mean, it's very much Crackdown gameplay. It looked cool. Like the boss fight was pretty dynamic. He jumped into a mech suit, and instead of just fighting him via guns, he had this force field that would deflect anything, grenades, guns. So what you had to do was use the environment. It was, I guess, one of the early bosses to teach you about this. So you'd blow up barrels, or you could, throw things at him, or lure him to specific spots where then you could shoot. This is where the destruction comes in. Like shoot down, support beams and have like a crate drop on his mech suit.
Yeah,
kind of fun, like interesting ways to fight besides just the gunplay.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that sounds awesome. I hope they explore that like more and more. Like as you continue the game, you'll have more of that. Like just more and more in-depth stuff where like, hey, you got to slowly, like imagine a boss fight where maybe you're inside the building, and as you work each level down, you like take down support beams, trying to collapse it on top of him or something. And that could be cool.
Be interested to see how much, like how they communicate the limits of the destruction in campaign. Because if you're, say, playing multiplayer for hours and you're like, oh, this is how I traverse, there's so much verticality, I shoot up the building and climb through it, or I do this, and then you go into single player and like it works over here but not here. Like I hope there's a way for them to effectively say like, this is how destruction works in single player. Most impressive of all is that they're targeting summer, which I thought this would be their fall game, not Scalebound.
God.
So that's pretty soon.
Microsoft is killing it, and we've only talked about Microsoft games.
I mean, Sony didn't have anything there, and
well, Sony's going to be at Paris Games Week, right?
And Sony does have PlayStation Experience, which I guess they're doubling down on because it was so successful last year. But yeah, I mean, it does kind of just still weird me out. Like Sony has studios, so what are they doing? What are they working on?
They are working.
They're working, dude.
Very slowly.
I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe there's also like an issue of oftentimes like game studios, like they'll make a game, but it's not fun. So
I think cancel it.
No, it might not be a matter of canceling. It's like figuring out how to make it fun. Like Last of Us, remember? Like that was delayed, and then they said like we couldn't. I remember Neil Druckmann saying like we weren't sure how to make it fun. Like it wasn't working. So then they went back and they tweaked certain things. They tweaked certain bosses. They tweaked the amount of enemies and so on and so forth. And in a matter of, what was it, like 6 weeks or something like that? It didn't take them that long. But they got the game to be fun. And that's considered to be one of the best games, if not the best game of last generation.
Right.
So I think that they're working on it. We'll see. I mean, look, as far as numerically, if we talk about like, is Microsoft from a numbers standpoint better right now in exclusives? For this year, yes. I mean, there's no doubts about it. But I think that when we get into next year, we'll see what Sony brings to the table. Because I think Uncharted, Last Guardian,
the only
No
thing that
Man's
worries
Sky,
me is just like
Horizon, those are big games.
the only thing that worries me is like, okay, Microsoft clearly has the more dominant fall lineup this year.
This year, yes.
And they've already talked about Quantum Break, Crackdown, Scalebound, Gears of War 4 for next year. Inevitably, they're going to reveal new games at next E3.
Yeah,
and it's like,
but
at what
I don't
point is
think
Sony
they
just
reveal-
so far behind?
They're gonna slow. No, they're gonna slow down.
I don't think
because Microsoft.
Yeah, I don't think Microsoft reveals anything at next E3 that's
Yeah,
like
they
going to
don't
be
have
an immediate.
They don't
like-
have the studios, dude.
Yeah.
All these studios are putting out games now, so that means they're gonna go.
I
to
bet they do
hibernation for a
more
while.
of. I mean, Phil Spencer straight up
Gears.
said in interviews
the
that
new
he,
Gears is going to be there at E3. That's going to be their
but
big
also
game.
stuff like Tomb Raider where they want to double down on exclusives, and so they go make acquisitions.
But with that in mind, also keep in mind that more and more of the games that Microsoft keeps announcing are now Windows and Xbox.
True.
So Halo Wars 2, Windows and Xbox One. Gears, Windows and Xbox One. So more and more of their exclusives are no longer system exclusives.
Yeah.
They're exclusive to
They're
the
not
Microsoft
PlayStation, I guess,
platforms.
if you're a console player.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
but most people who have consoles have a PC. So
Yeah, but even Tomb Raider's coming to PS4, and
Yeah.
the wait isn't as long as we thought it was. I had said maybe a year. It's not even that. Like
no, it is a year.
No, well, it's a year
next
before
fall.
it comes to for PS4, but it's
PC
on
will be
PC.
like 3 months. Yeah.
Okay,
Or
but,
2
Yeah,
months.
yeah,
but
like-
why is it totally okay for Sony to just ignore exclusives at all?
I don't
They're
think they're
not.
ignoring.
They have
exclusives.
none this year, Gabe.
They're I know, but they're working on it.
Are they?
Like,
where
do you want
are
them
they
to do?
working on besides Horizon?
No. Wait. But did they have Bloodborne?
Yeah.
Did they have the
They
Order
had
1886?
Yeah. They had a lot of.
Did they
stuff
have
this
a
year, too.
bunch of indie games?
And
And then
games-
no. But
No
name
Man's
what
Sky
was
is-
Microsoft's exclusive lineup the last 6 months?
Yeah, I guess. I'm just saying in terms of
But this is what I mean. It's like this recency
showstoppers, though. Bloodborne is done. That game is not going to sell anymore. It's just
thing.
not.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's going to be DLC for it, so there's obviously it obviously sold well
it did
enough.
sell well, but I'm just saying that's
to-
not. There's a reason it came out in March and not November.
because it was ready.
Yeah, but
And-
okay, but
Because
by
it wouldn't
that
have sold,
logic,
like-
is Uncharted not on par because it's coming out in March?
Frankly, I think Uncharted would get buried beneath all the shooters this fall, and that's. I mean, maybe it's not ready, also, but Call of Duty and Halo are insanely
And
strong
Tomb
this
Raider
year.
is not going to get buried by Fallout. Tomb Raider is so good that Fallout will just look
Yeah,
like
so
nothing
why would
compared to it.
Uncharted get buried, but Tomb Raider won't? Like,
This
how,
is what
how
I mean,
does
Zach. You're just being biased right now.
No,
Like,
because
it's not-
Sony. No, but look, Sony is.
And I don't want to protect. Like I said before. Like I agree. The last 6 months of this year, exclusivity wise, in terms of exclusive games, not DLC, which by
Right.
the way they also are getting a lot
Right,
of exclusive
yes.
stuff before Microsoft, like Battlefront, Destiny, so on and so forth. But let's not count that because that's just little packages. It's not like games.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as games wise, Sony is not up to par. But I think going into next year, I think it's ridiculous to say that Sony's not going to have an incredible lineup. Like if
Besides Horizon and Uncharted, though, I don't know what else they could do.
if they have Horizon, Last Guardian, No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky is not a physical game. I want to clarify for people because we got a lot of comments on that.
it
It
is
is
in
not
in
a
other
physical
countries?
game.
That's
No,
not
it's
here.
not.
Not
That
here.
pre-order is incorrect, Gabe.
Yeah,
Really?
But
Yes,
that is a
it's
big
not.
game, Zach. That's a big game.
It's not
More
going to
people-
sell that much. I guarantee. Guaranteed.
But I could tell you the same thing about Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is not going to sell that much on the Xbox One. I guarantee you, because everybody's going to be playing Fallout, and people will wait, and then they could play it on their PCs and PlayStation 4s within
To
the
quickly
next
just
10
answer
months.
why I think Tomb Raider about that, Sony is putting a bunch of dollars behind Destiny, Battlefront, and Call of Duty for their
Yeah,
system.
all
So
games that most people play. Like those
Yeah,
are going to be the
sure.
highest played games
they
of the
totally
year. So
will.
keep
So
that
to
in mind.
emphasize
okay?
Uncharted would be sabotaging their own deals. So the reason Microsoft's putting Tomb Raider out is because they don't have those deals. So they need games to pimp and promote and put on the cover of advertisements.
You're addressing the wrong question here. My question was, why? Let's say Uncharted comes out in the fall. Why does that one get buried but Tomb Raider doesn't? Why?
Because
What
it's
makes
Because
that one?
Uncharted is a much more singular focused game in terms of shooting and storyline. Tomb Raider
Uncharted has multiplayer that's better.
Tomb Raider
than
has a
Tomb
lot more.
Raiders.
That game is an open world game basically at this point with exploration and adventure that Uncharted doesn't
Yeah,
have.
but Uncharted,
Yeah,
and
but
this
it
is
gets-
wait, and this is coming from the guy that has been for the last like 6 weeks complaining that everything is becoming open world, and you think that technically speaking,
But not
all
it's
games.
not. I don't mean open world in the sense of like drive around and play side missions. There's no side missions.
2 weeks ago, you say that linearity is superior in storytelling, and then now because it favors your argument, you say
no. It's not open world in the way that I'm talking about. Let me retake back the open world statement. It is a massive space that the game exists in. There's no side missions or driving around.
What is that space? What do you do in that space? I will put up any Uncharted game against the last. Well, Uncharted 1 and the last Tomb Raider game were about neck and neck in terms of quality.
Okay, that's fine. I just think this new Tomb Raider game is going to score in the 9s and probably be up for Game of the Year.
Okay, again, different argument. My question is, why does Uncharted 4 get buried and Tomb Raider doesn't?
Because Tomb Raider is appealing to...
Uncharted is more popular.
Okay, then Uncharted doesn't get buried. Then why isn't it out? Why isn't it out then?
Because they're trying to polish the game.
So then it comes out in March.
Because Amy Hennig had to leave, and because they had half their creative people
I'm just saying that's fine. Uncharted 4 is going to be great and sell a shit ton of copies, and so will Horizon probably. I don't think Last Guardian stands up to any of these. Last Guardian looks and feels last gen.
Last Guardian seems to be very mechanically wise, from gameplay mechanics, could be similar to Scalebound in terms of like the walking your beasts around and all that.
But that game is going to be so small time. It just is.
Well, we don't know how small it is because we've seen barely anything from both games. So
all right. So we can't. Sony may have 20 games at next E3 for next fall.
I'm just saying, the last 6 months, let's talk about the first half of the year. Who had more exclusives?
They had The Order and Bloodborne. The Order was complete. For most people, complete trash. It's $20 everywhere now, and Bloodborne was really good. I
believe you were saying that it was good.
I thought it was good, but most people didn't like it.
Okay, but that doesn't matter then. You always talk about the fact that other people don't matter, and then now...
I know, I'm just talking about why for the general populace is it like PlayStation, and then they have these games that no one even likes, and they don't even put out games.
Because I think what you're doing is you're essentially just comparing them. Sony versus Microsoft exclusives.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I am.
But that's not what makes or breaks a console. It's so much more than that. There's user interface.
I know.
Where's your friends?
I just don't understand why they feel like it's okay to not do it.
If you're Tetra Ninja and you're invested in Destiny, right, for a year, and you've been playing this game with your friends on PlayStation, and you have like a certain time where you guys just hop on and you have fun and you're running around, that's part of the thing that sells you on Sony as the superior console, is because that's where you're experiencing that fun. Similarly to how Xbox 360 was that for people. And then on top of that, Sony then says, people love Destiny. Doesn't matter if you agree or disagree.
Totally, yeah.
People love Destiny. People love Call of Duty. People we assume will love Battlefront. These are all multiplayer games that are huge, have huge budgets, and people are very excited about them. So why don't we go ahead and double down on these titles and make sure that the players in our infrastructure and in our sphere get access to content that is exclusive from these games and early access from these titles? And that's what pays off for them, because they realize that part of their appeal is the user interface and the fact that they've created like a actual, like their own little hub where people play multi-platform games. And then every 3 to 4 months, they'll release a big bombshell of an exclusive. That's the way they approach it.
And that's totally great. And like, let's be clear, PlayStation 4 is my preferred console. I play it more. I like it more. I like the controller more. I'm going to be playing all the shooters on PlayStation 4 this year. My only issue, and it's sort of my same issue with Evolve, is that there is this general consensus mindshare thing that like PlayStation is so great, Xbox sucks. And it's mind-blowing to me because I don't know what PlayStation has done.
I don't think that's the case because first of all, that comes from the way that the two products were introduced, because as you said, introductions are very important. You only get to make them once. And Microsoft introduced their product horribly to this audience. Just an absolute abysmal, awful presentation.
I mean, I loved it, but yeah.
How do you love the fact that they had to go back on what they said this thing was?
I wish they would have followed through, but they couldn't because people are too...
Sure, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that that's where they were brought. And then second of all, look, financially speaking, if people said the Xbox sucks, it wouldn't be selling as well as it is. I mean, yes, is it selling as well as the PS4? No, but it's very close, and it's a close second.
It's catching
up. Okay, but it's evident in this argument. Every time I bring up that Microsoft has a better lineup, you guys are so quick to say, but Sony this and Sony that. Like,
but we acknowledge it.
I just said, all right. The last of these 6 months, Microsoft wipes the floor with Sony's exclusives.
Okay, cool.
And even before this whole thing started, I said Microsoft is killing it because they are. They are hands down killing it.
But
they
even
are
at
the winners this year.
E3, after the conferences, people are like, man, Sony just did such a great job. Sony had the best conference.
Because
Sony
people are more excited about the future lineup of Sony's than Microsoft's. I think that more people are right now enthused about No Man's Sky, Horizon, Uncharted 4, and
name the other two. Name them. I know, Zachary, you could give two shits about these, but Final Fantasy Remake and Shenmue being a thing, that is exciting.
Are excited about that than they are about Crackdown 3, Gears, and so on and so forth. Like, I just think that those franchises resonated with more audiences, but it doesn't mean that the other ones are going to be worse or better. And the other thing you have to keep in mind, I think that we can't account for having more numerically exclusives as better. Let's see the quality of these games.
Sure. Let's let
because
them come
if they suck, who cares if they have 50 titles?
Absolutely.
And here's the other thing that's quite unfair, right? Well, when people mention Sony's exclusives for this year, they say, "Oh, a lot of those weren't big. You know, those don't count, right?" And as much as I love Rare Replay, are we going to count that as a AAA exclusive, right? Nobody cares about the exclusive Sony has. Does Forza matter then? Like, to us. I'm talking about to us. Forza doesn't matter to us. Fable Legends doesn't matter to us. Rare Replay, for as great as it is, it's not AAA. It's a $30 compilation of 30 games that are, 20 years old for some of them. Yes, those are more exclusives, but do we care? Do you care about those games?
No, I just don't understand, and this is totally fine, and we'll move on, but I don't understand how we live in a world where freaking Shenmue generates more enthusiasm than something like Quantum Break or Scalebound, but beyond me. Microsoft doubles down on indie. What then? What is Sony going to say then? When Microsoft starts getting a bunch of indie exclusives as well.
Then their big games come, because their big games are coming, whether you believe it or not. Like, those studios aren't just sitting there playing like with their hand. Like, they are working.
I mean, they canceled Silent Hill, which would theoretically been a big exclusive.
That wasn't Sony though.
It was going to be on PlayStation.
Yeah, but that was Konami.
Okay,
they have no control.
So what is Sony making?
Who knows? That's the beauty of it.
That's the nice thing about it. And the one thing that we do have to remember is that going into it right now, Sony has had more like original IP, like successful original IP than Microsoft has had. Because Quantum Break and Scalebound are going to be the first like
Sunset.
Sunset Overdrive. But again, that's like a tiny game. For some reason, I don't know, like that game didn't resonate with people because it didn't sell very well, which is weird because I thought that game was like...
we all loved it though.
What?
Yeah. We all loved it.
I think we all loved it.
Yeah, that game is like weirdly that it didn't find an audience because, again, it looked like it did everything right. It was like quirky and fun, and it was a great game. So, surprising, but it didn't sell very well. But I think that Sony is like, they're doing a very different strategy to Microsoft. They're doing what Microsoft did with the Xbox 360, and it worked for them. So, I think that less and less will we see. I think Sony will do less huge exclusives, and instead they'll focus on either bringing interesting indie, and then they'll do kind of like tentpole games. Like let's say 4 games a year they'll have that are huge exclusives. Some of them will hit, like Bloodborne. Some of them will miss, like The Order 1886.
I just think it's really weird to go into a fall season 2 years in a row and say, well, we got nothing.
But you're going into a fall season where the third-party games are Fallout 4, which by itself could have held the entire fall season. Like, you don't need to release anything else. Call of Duty, Battlefront. Like,
sure, I know. I'm just saying it's
that's
weird
ridiculous
to me, and I guess maybe...
No, but if you're a general gamer, these are if you bought those 3 games, you don't need to buy games till easily
but that's never been
next year.
Never stopped them before from having exclusive. It is weird that they don't have anything 2 years in a row.
Weird, yes.
Wrong, no, but weird. I just think it's weird, and I like that Microsoft is hungry
really
and
weird.
Clearly showing it, and I hope that Sony eventually gets hungry and shows it as well.
But I think at the same time, don't you think it's better? Like, okay, even with that like pattern of like, oh, the fall is the big release season. I would venture to say that Q1 of 2016 is bigger than this Q4 is going to be.
Really,
hands down.
Yeah,
hands
no
down.
way, Gabriel.
Dude,
there's so
really?
many games that
there is a lot of stuff coming.
Q1 of this year or next year?
No. Q1 of 2016.
Okay.
Right,
if things don't get delayed, sure.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, essentially, we're seeing a change in that traditional thing. I think that fall will belong from now on to like big third-party releases, and then you take over Q1, and hopefully they'll start transitioning that into also like Q2, so that there isn't this lull of games. and we get more games. Because look at this year. Like, we got Mortal Kombat in that time frame. We got Bloodborne. Like, there was way more games than usual released in the first 6 months than we expect. And it worked out. A lot of these games, like Dying Light, did exceptionally well because they didn't decide to go head-to-head with Call of Duty and games where these are like event-type games. Like, people will buy Fallout, and they're not going to play anything for weeks. Mm-hmm. So why would you want to be in the store shelf when a game like that exists or comes out? Like, to me, it's just business
Unless
savvy.
you're Tomb Raider, and Laura can do it, apparently, which is going to be strange. And I love Tomb Raider. And, like, I'm not like Max, where Max thinks it's going to
I think that's the best looking graphical game that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
We'll
we saw it at the Microsoft
on the
party.
Final product, right?
I played a full Tomb
excited.
and it ran flawlessly.
No, but did you play it on an Xbox?
Yeah, console was sitting right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even at the Microsoft thing, they were playing on Xbox One. So
Cool.
Either way, there's a lot of great
stuff.
stuff.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I still have a ton of stuff. I guess we could save some of it if you'd like.
say some, because we do have a show
because
like,
we
later
have
this week.
Yeah. Let me just quickly touch on Dark Souls 3 because I can bust it out really fast.
Do it.
Dark Souls 3 borrows some things from Bloodborne, like the backstab, like criticals, a little bit more
Faster,
speed.
right?
Yeah, a little bit. I do have to say, though, like, I think I kind of, as much as I'm not a medieval person, I think that that feel might fit that style of game just better. Like, the whole sword and shield thing, I don't know. Like, I was really into the bit that I played. Still having, like, creative bosses, still having some creatures. There was some really weird, like, Ouroboros moment where this guy, I hit him once and he erupted into this giant, like, 3-headed monster out of his body, which was crazy. But I don't know. Like, I like the strafe and timing thing a little bit more than Bloodborne, I think.
When's that thing supposed to come
Dark
out?
Souls, they keep just saying early next year, which to me means, like, in the January, February, March.
So once again, another games in that.
Yeah, so many games in that time frame. It's insane.
It does very feel like Dark Souls 2, though. I wonder what if Dark Souls 3 will be sort of the point where it's like, we can't bear this many of this type of game over and over. I don't know if you saw, but the developer of Lords of the Fallen just announced a sci-fi
cool.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, that looked interesting to me. I saw that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully the genre won't get oversaturated because at this point it's become an annual game. Like,
made by the same people,
They
basically.
said that Bloodborne, like, sequel or whatever, is going to be most likely the year after, so they're going to kind of, like, switch back and forth between Souls, a Bloodborne game, Souls, Bloodborne, which, so we'll see. But, look, so far, the quality for those games speaks miles, so I think that as long as they keep making quality games, great. I mean, they obviously need to innovate and do new things, which hopefully they're aware of. But I think because of who's making those games, I think those studios are, like, aware of who their audience is, and they know how to, like, service their audience as best as they can. So
yeah, totally.
I'm excited. It's good.
I think Gabe is frozen in place, or he's just really happy.
I think Gabe is just really happy.
Gabe, let me just last touchstone here. Hitman looks really good.
Dude, man, that game. I'm excited.
It looks really good. There's a lot of a ton of different weapons. A lot of
hitmanning.
A lot of hitmanning. The environments are much larger this time. They talked about in Hitman. What's the last one called? Hitman
Absolution.
Yeah, they could put, like, I think about 30 people on the screen at once.
Oh, no, that's not true. They had a lot of people on one of those scenes.
They said 30, 40 people was, like, what they are on the screen at once.
Okay.
Either way,
now how many is it? 100?
Either way, yeah, they were talking about, like, 200 people or whatever. Some massive amounts of things.
I wonder how that works in a stealth game. Like, how do you deal with 100?
Well, this was like a fashion show, and so there was tons of people around. And get up into the rafters.
NPCs.
Yeah.
All right.
And it looked very. I mean, it's a very Hitman, right? But it looked.
Yeah.
It looked.
You use the environment to escape. How much of it did you see? Do you get to use the environment to escape? Do you get to dress up?
Oh yeah, all that stuff was there, and they showed some interesting things, very Hitman-esque, of like, hey, you need to get up into this, like, secret, like, higher floor, and there's a weapons check, so you go and stash your weapons in these fruit bowls, and then the fruit bowls get carried up by the chefs, and then you can walk past it. Like, very Hitman-esque, so I'm sure it's going to feel just like that. They talked nothing about the episodic nature, or whatever the heck you're getting December 8th, which is weird. but I thought it looked really cool. I think it's still very dumb that this guy has a barcode on the back of his head and no one recognizes that that's weird at all. I wish they would just remove that. Like, scrub it off, Hitman. Like, if you're so stealthy, why do you have a barcode in your bald head? But it looked really good. And I was impressed by the verticality in the expanse of the spaces. They zoomed out and kind of did this pan of this mansion that this fashion show was in. Way bigger than the stuff in Absolution. So that'll be cool.
I just want to know what the hell it is, though, because it's not a traditional Hitman game. Like you said, it's episodic in nature. And there's
what we saw was very traditional, though. So
yeah, but where does the multiplayer stuff come into it? Because they're saying it's a selling point, isn't it? Like, this is multiplayer based, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Like not like straight up traditional multiplayer, but the fact that it's like a connected world. That's what they made this thing. That's why it's called just Hitman. It's not like Hitman whatever.
Possibly.
I don't know. I just want to know what the hell it is.
Combat looked a little bit more smooth. The only thing I don't like about those games is like the hard fails. So I hope they've worked to remove a little bit of that or something. But the world was incredibly populated and detailed. And it didn't look that great, but there was so much going on that I think that is why. Anyways, let's move on. We have a lightning round sent in since we asked for these. Thank you, guys.
Here we go.
And if you have lightning rounds of your own, you can send them to can'tstopasking@gmail.com. We get over 100 emails a week now, so if we don't read yours, we do apologize. But keep sending them.
Keep them coming, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't you stop.
Don't stop. You can't stop asking, actually.
Don't stop believing.
This one comes from A. A says, hello, I am a 16-year-old boy who is currently driving to Cincinnati with my family on our move. We're moving from Shanghai. Quite the move. Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wait, driving from
I hope it means flying and then drove to Cincinnati or something. That's
okay.
Quite the crazy car.
I hope so, because that's a very difficult drive.
Yeah,
he does say
maybe they're just driving on the water now.
I can't explain how much your podcast helped me through the drive through all these endless cornfields. But here's his lightning round. They're very interesting questions. Is math or science worse?
Worse.
Huh.
I say science is worse.
Well,
I don't like
math is a science, isn't it?
I don't like math.
All right.
Wouldn't math be a science?
I guess.
All right, math is worse.
I don't know. I love science, but I love math. Okay, whatever. Math.
Pick a side.
I'll pick math as worse than science.
Yeah. All right, and this guy has, coming from China, he's experienced weird foods. He says, would you rather eat, and this can be for just Gabe, would you rather eat ketchup or sheep testicles?
How are these sheep testicles fried? Is that what
I would assume?
I'm not having
Why do you need more information? It's so obvious.
I'm not having ketchup.
All right.
Come on, boom.
Then he says, would you rather have a short plane ride or a long car ride, knowing that you have to go to the airport through security and all that, but basically like a 2-hour plane ride or like a 4 or 5 hour car ride? Do you prefer travel by car or by plane?
Plane.
Car.
I say plane. Now that I have no more anxiety, plane.
I don't know. I just find car rides to be cool, especially if like you're driving somewhere like far. You know, you drive by a whole bunch of cool places. You stop.
We just drove 5 hours. 5 hours each way. This past weekend we went to Houston, which is still in Texas, but yes, you drive 5 hours and you stay in Texas.
But it's a cool drive. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if it's just like a drive, just like, oh, let's just go and drive, then it's boring. Yeah. But if you're driving to like a cool place and you get to stop at like really cool spots on the way, then drive for sure. You can't be like flying and be like, oh, that looks like a cool place, let's stop over there.
I just feel like with flights, like I don't get irritated and or agitated. Like car rides, it's like, get me out of here. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to drive anymore. But planes, you're like, you just get to be a king for a day and sit there and they take you around.
Well, what if you have a terrible person sitting next to you?
I guess. I've luckily never had that happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Although I will say on my flight back from Germany is 8.5 hours from Amsterdam to, that's not Germany, but the plane ride is from Amsterdam to Detroit. The dude next to me just like basically put his life on the tray in front of him. So I felt so bad asking him to stand up. He had like food, books, notes, glasses, water, and like I had to go to the bathroom really bad, but I didn't ask him till like the last 30 minutes of the flight because I was like, his cleanup is going to take 5 minutes. So I didn't want to, yeah.
Well, you got to buy some diapers next time.
Do you prefer books or comic books?
Comic books.
I say books.
Wait. Yeah,
Zach, what was the last book you read? Exactly.
I do like them. What was the last comic book I read? I don't know that either.
You got all the Batgirl comics. Come on,
I
get on
didn't read
it.
them yet.
Get on it.
I read way more comic books. I listen to books.
Okay.
Audio form.
Yeah.
And then he says, finally, would you guys consider a separate podcast just for relationship issues? Which is just funny because we talked about that earlier this week.
Yeah.
There's multiple requests for that.
Maybe way down the line. Not anytime soon.
Like next week.
And also, this is like so random and funny, and it doesn't even make sense. But he says, "P.S. I don't know a lot about Max. Speak up, Max." And Max talks all the time, but I think he wants more things to pick on you for, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I scared of? Do I have any phobias? I probably do. Oh, I can't ride any roller coasters. I get like really bad motion sickness.
All right.
And puke very easily. So if you want to do that, I could do that. Other than that, I've said stuff. I was in a mediocre 10-year-old rap group. That's about as embarrassing as you can get.
Nah, it's awesome, dude. You know that's straight out of whatever meme that's going around right now. We got to make one with a caption for Max and straight out of Israel or something.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll rock some, like a bowl of hummus or something with
Nice.
it. There you go. I love all Middle Eastern food. So like hummus, falafel, shawarma. Sign me up. We can do this all day, every day.
How do you feel about Mexican food? I've asked you this, but
Mexican food is. I like it when it's authentic. Like I had like American Mexican food, and it's disgusting. But like Mexican, like where it's like fresh salsas with like mango and like peppers. Because I love spicy food.
Spicy?
Yeah,
you love it.
Even though sometimes I end up regretting it on the toilet later on.
Oh, dude,
you're screaming. You're like, dang it!
God.
Max, we're gonna have some adventures in packs. With food because Zach is no fun.
Whatever, Gabe.
Zach, he likes his Whole Foods. That's the only
Gabe.
thing
What
he'll
happened
eat.
on your food adventure at E3? You missed a day of E3.
That wasn't my fault. That was Buffalo Wild Wings. But we're not gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings. We're gonna eat some weird shit.
Max, can I put you on the spot with a question?
Okay, sure.
Because I feel like even if this happened, I don't know that we would know about it. But like, have you? Because me and Gabe talk about it, especially the relationship stuff. But like, what's your serious relationship experience like?
Oh, okay. Which one do I talk? Well, I don't know how much I want to.
Well, just keep it very, very general.
Yeah, broad. Like, how many relationships you've been in?
I feel like if you had it, you could have like a wife right now. We wouldn't even know.
No.
Yeah,
Right now, single right now.
Okay, will you go out with me?
No.
Okay, damn it.
Gabe can give you the challenge that he gave Jake, which is that he told Jake, my brother, that we're gonna walk away from E3 with you having a girlfriend. I don't care if it's a flight attendant on the plane on the way back, but we're gonna make sure you leave this convention with a girlfriend.
I'm the exact opposite of that because I always have like it's a big ordeal. Probably at this point, 5 like serious, some semi serious relationships.
Wow, that's a lot.
But yeah. Not. The longest relationship was probably like a year, like right around a year.
Were any in Canada, or are these all pre-Canada?
Yeah, 2 were in Canada.
Okay,
and then the others were pre-Canada.
See, we're learning more about Max.
Every week we'll get smaller tidbits.
Yeah, next year I'll give you guys my social insurance number. So.
Max is like an onion. We have to peel him back slowly, so it doesn't burn him or us. Let's get to some emails. Like I said, lots of them, and the first one, of course, is a relationship question.
Oh, here we go.
Hey.
I thought that this was going to be on the other podcast.
Pinch her. Pull her hair.
Wow. I thought you just came up with a name for a podcast. Pinch her. And I was like, whoa, that's weird.
Oh, God.
Dude, that could be it.
Actually, we've read this one before. It looks so fresh, but it's not. I remember our answer now.
It looks so fresh, but it's not.
Let me jump forward.
It's what Zach says about 90% of food.
Let me jump forward to a different one. This is not about relationships, but it's kind of about life, so it's okay.
Okay.
Gosh, it's kind of a sad one. Hello, Grinch of Ketchup, zany Whole Foodian, and mystifying Canadian. Everyone thinks you're mysterious, apparently, Max. You're just a man of intrigue.
That's good, then. Actually, no, you know what? I need to cut back more. I want to be like the mysterious one. That's it.
Are you just going to not talk now?
No, yeah, now I'll just be like, yes.
All right.
No.
This is just it's questions about life. He's from Atlanta. His name is Daniel. And he says, I hope you're all doing well. I've been watching Zach for over a year now, and Max even longer. No mention of Gabe. Sorry, Gabe.
Nah, it's okay. That sucks.
In that time, I've heard Zach talk about how holidays are losing excitement.
Okay.
And not a lot of thrill. I'm 13, and even now, I'm not as excited about Christmas or other holidays as I would have been 1 or 2 years ago, which saddens me. My question is, are holidays becoming a chore to you guys too? If you don't celebrate Christmas, what other holidays do you dread or not look forward to? And any ideas of how I can change this?
I'm the weirdest one because I don't do holidays.
None?
Like, I don't. No, I don't
Do you
care.
do
Like,
National Loofah Day?
yeah, that's the only one I do.
Okay.
Like Christmas comes along, like I don't care. Like Thanksgiving comes along, I really don't care. I'll eat the food, but that's it. Like Halloween, I could care even less. And Valentine's, Lucy cares, but I don't care.
But
Oh,
unfortunately
damn.
for her, you don't.
Yeah, not like my birthday comes along, I don't give a damn. It's just another day. But I'm weird like that though, and I don't mean it in a depressing way. Like I'm always happy.
Well,
and
that's
if, like,
just
Lucy-
one of the many ways that you're weird.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, but I never do it like in a sad way. Like if like Lucy wants to go trick or treating with like my little brothers or something, we'll do it. Or Christmas exchange gifts. I mean,
so you're
we'll
not
do
the
it. I'm gonna be
Grinch.
happy.
You're not the Grinch.
No.
Okay.
I just don't care.
What about you, Zach?
I still love my
What's
holidays.
this I hear about you saying they're losing their magic? What's
Well,
up with that?
I feel like, I mean, this is getting in really personal territory, but
Oh, here we go. Mysterious Zach over here.
the introduction of a job into my life kind of destroyed Christmas for me, because when I was younger, that excitement of like, oh my god, I'm gonna wake up and I want Metroid Prime and Super Mario Strikers and like I want a new bike, or I want like, and getting that was so cool. And now, since like I buy my own games, I buy my own shoes, Christmas is kind of like dulled out for me. So I flipped to becoming my own sort of Santa, and now Christmas is fun because I get to give stuff to people.
But isn't
Christmas is
it's
every day
not
for
about
Zach, though.
like
Shit.
the holidays are not just about gifts,
Well, they, I mean,
right? Like, I don't know. To me, what I love about Christmas is like it's one of those times of the year. Again, in Canada, it's more common. Like it's normal. Like you could be walking on the street randomly, just smile at somebody, and they won't think you're creepy. Like they'll just be like, "Oh, happy holidays," you know.
Right.
And except for the thing, like where people do that thing where you're like, "Oh, Merry Christmas," and they're like, "I don't celebrate Christmas," and you're like, "Okay, sorry, I just happy whatever you celebrate." Like it's like I don't like those people, but other than that, like there's just like this weird energy in the air. Which sounds cheesy, but it is true. Like during New Year's time and Christmas time and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and whatever you celebrate during that time of the year, it's like there's this kind of like everybody's cool, and we're just happy to be here, and that's it. So it's like this really cool time of the year.
To redeem myself a little, like I still definitely do. That's not all about the gifts. I really like the family get-togethers, and I think the thing that for me kind of dulls is like when you're younger, your birthday, like everyone makes kind of a big deal, or Christmas is like a big deal, and now like people are like, happy birthday, okay, I'm going to do my own thing now. Or Christmas, like, okay, like especially growing up with a bunch of siblings, like I feel like even just that energy has died down a little bit as everyone's kind of older, doing their own thing. There's not as much wonder about different things, or just families in general, extended families. When we were all younger, like our cousins and stuff would all get together for Thanksgiving or different holidays. And now people are in college, people have jobs, people are tired, people are whatever. And so it's just not as, like I'm bouncing off the walls and everyone else is kind of,
Go have kids.
all right. Sounds like a good idea.
Oh, you want to hear about my dream last
Next
night? I
week
told this
we'll
to
have a
Lucy.
special
She wasn't very
update.
happy with it.
Okay.
I had a
You
dream
had a baby?
where me and Lucy were in a shopping center,
Okay.
right? And it was the exact same situation. We've still been together for as long as we are. But then all of a sudden, this like really, really beautiful girl comes out of nowhere, and she says, "Hey, I had a kid with you, and like I want you to meet the kid." And I
In a
recognize
shopping
her. I'm
mall,
like,
she just like, sees you and she's like, "Hey, you!"
no, dude, she pulled up like in a limo or something.
Whoa,
Like, it was
it's
crazy.
a really
Wow.
pretty girl.
Yeah.
Wait,
and she's
Zach,
like, "Hey, we."
what's that supposed to mean? If she pulls
No,
up in a
and-
limo, whoa, that means she's really
Yeah,
pretty.
I mean, I'm just thinking she must be like a celebrity or something.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I don't think she was a celebrity. I think she just had money.
Was she
But
on
yeah,
a bicycle?
limo
Oh, never mind.
bicycle?
Keep going.
All right, so I had this kid with this girl, and like Lucy was like surprisingly okay with it, which she wouldn't be in real life. And like we were going out to dinner with this person, and she was telling me all about this kid of mine that I've never met,
Right.
and I was gonna meet her, the child. It was a female child, and right when I was gonna meet her, I woke up. So that was my dream.
Well, maybe
Interesting.
you'll get the continuation of it.
I
Who
always
knows?
hope
Maybe
that.
maybe Leo DiCaprio is like in your mind planting dreams.
I hope. Yeah, I hope
Maybe
so.
this is all Inception style.
All right.
Yeah.
Our
And then you
next
wake up.
our next email is actually a text. It comes from a phone, which I'm not going to give out the number. It's
Okay.
very quick. Hey guys, my name is Mario. Peach has been hanging out with Luigi a lot lately. I'm not sure if I should be jealous or just let them be.
What the? Was this Jake?
Max asked for it last week. Said someone should pretend that they're Mario and write in. So there you go. We got at least 5 of these.
Are they all this good?
I forgot this was a thing.
All right. Next email. They're all pretty good.
Oh, okay, good.
Michael writes in and says, what's up, Can't Stop Asking Crew? I was just thinking about how games these days are so hated on because of their graphics. I.e. The Division with its downgrade, Watch Dogs with its downgrade. My opinion is that graphics do not make the game. And I want to know what you guys feel about graphics and how hardcore you are about making or requiring a game to have pretty graphics to be good, and what you think makes a game more.
Zach?
I think graphics are very important. I think that they're not the most important, but I think why would you not want it to look really good? Like, that's my thing. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't want it to look very good. And I do think that many games are enhanced greatly by their visual performance. Like, sure, Super Mario World is still great, or sure, Link to the Past is still great, or sure, NES games or Atari could be quality, but plenty of games that survive on story points and plot points and spectacle are enhanced greatly by their visual experience. Imagine going to Rapture or Columbia or the towns in The Last of Us, or even Fallout, if they looked like total shit. Like, it would not have the same wow factor for you at all.
Yep. I think that the only thing I do find to be a little bit weird is, like, I wish more and more companies would understand that graphics doesn't mean that everybody needs to make it look realistic. Because I think that even when you brought up BioShock, the reason why it looks cool and everything, because it has its art style.
Yeah.
It's not realistic.
Sure.
The faces don't look like, human faces. And most of the games where people complain about graphics are games that typically started realistic.
That's a good point.
Like Watch Dogs and games that go for the look of realism, because no matter how well you try, 10 years from now, Uncharted 4 is going to look bad in comparison because of how much better graphics card and everything are going to be. It's not going to look nearly as good as what it seems like to us. Like, it's just a matter of, that's what happens if you're going for a realistic art style. That's why other games that go for an art style instead of just going realistic, they end up holding up better. So I think that that's what they should prioritize. Is like, make it look good, but it doesn't have to be realistic.
Yeah, I think I'm the one that cares the least about graphics. So, like, when certain people say, "Oh, Fallout 4 looks ugly," like, I don't care, because that's not what I'm going to Fallout 4. Like, obviously, when the game looks beautiful, it gets extra brownie points, right? Like, The Last of Us, beautiful game, especially the remastered one. But I think if that game looked a little bit, like, uglier, per se, like, if there wasn't as many textures or the world wasn't as detailed, would the game mean any less to you? I think the story is what made that game. And I don't think the story it becomes, like... You don't take away from the story just because the game looks a little bit uglier. But,
Strive for greatness in all areas. That's what I think. Why not?
Yeah, I know, but sometimes...
And to be fair, I think that is what they do. Like, I genuinely would not believe that the people at Ubisoft who were working on Watch Dogs were like, okay, let's make this game look way worse. Like, I guarantee you they tried to release it at the best graphical capability possible. Like, they did, I'm sure that they did, within the time constraints and budget constraints and everything that was given to them by management, they worked around that and tried to get the best product out there. I think it's cynical thinking to think that they're like, what we showed looked like 10 times better, let's make it look awful. Come on, guys.
Unless it's a budget constraint. That's the only instance where I could see them consciously choosing a lower fidelity.
And even if that's the case, like, that's not because they didn't want to do it. It's because financially it just made no sense.
I have a question for you guys that I don't have 1 ounce of a clue to the answer of, which is, like, okay, if we all played basketball and we said, like, hey, we're all going to shoot 10 shots, we'd make different amounts. And it's not because we didn't want to make more. It's just because that's our capacity.
Skill level.
Right, yeah. Do you think that...
It's a weird example, by the way, because... Those 10 shots, let's say we have 10 shots each, right? You can make 5, I can make 4, Max can make 3, right? On the next 10 shots, it could be completely flipped. You know what I mean? Like, on the next set of 10, what if I make...
horrible at basketball.
Well, just take it for what it is for right now.
Yeah, go. Pitch us the thing.
We never get to see the skill set of developers. Do you think that there is some effect of, like, this team just doesn't have as much skill as another team, and therefore they can't juice as much out of the engine, or they can't juice as much out of, you know, the graphics or the gameplay. I just wonder if that at all factors in, because we never think of developers as people with 1 to 10
levels.
skills.
Yeah.
We just think of it like, oh, they're all making the game and they program and code. But I wonder how much of an effect, like, again, not calling anybody out, not saying this for sure, but like the Unity dev team, maybe if that team was, or that game was handled by, say, Naughty Dog, maybe it would not have had bugs or would not have had issues. Like, I wonder if that ever just comes into play.
Yeah, sure. I think that there's absolutely the case, but I think there's so many nuances to that, because like, when you think about it, like, typically the best games on either console are exclusive games, like in terms of the way they visually look. Right. And the reason for that is because that studio is developing for one system and one ecosystem, and they optimize the hardware of that specific box to work for their game. So we have to think that it's not a very fair comparison to compare a third-party game versus an exclusive, because again, they are developing for all of these systems at once, whereas here you know that this is the box that it has to run on, so get it to run on this as best as you can. So I think that's one of the comparisons. And then there's lots of other things, like what kind of, like, are they all using the exact same engine? Because that's a big deal, right? Like, if you're using one engine, maybe this engine can't do these types of things, but it could do this, whereas this engine specializes in this type of mechanic, and so on and so forth. So I think that there's so much nuance, and there's so many hands in the pot that it would be like impossible to judge.
I'm like Meek Mill, I just want to know.
You are more than him. You are like him in many ways right now.
Nathan writes into the story for Gabe, and he says, Gabe, I have a brother who doesn't like ketchup, but there's a story behind it. This is how it happened. There's this kid at our church. Right beside our church was a kitchen. So my brother walks into the kitchen and sees this kid with a ketchup bottle. And this was some Shrek the Movie edition, so the ketchup was green. And this kid with his tongue is just sucking on the bottle like it's a baby bottle. And it scarred my brother for life.
Oh my God. That's so gross.
That's gross for me too. I'm okay with ketchup, but that is just really disgusting. I mean, just the fact that it's green to begin with. It's like, who thought that was a good idea? They're like, listen, Shrek's coming
I remember
out.
those ketchup.
Let's
they had like
make it green.
Different colored.
They had a blue one when I was elementary for something. I don't remember for what.
That's nice.
It's the worst.
Let's see. We got a couple people with the same question here, so I thought we could address it. This is from Nate, and he writes in saying that his first day of school is coming up. He's starting middle school. Any advice for nervous schoolgoers?
Yeah, find the biggest guy and punch him.
Always listen to Gabe.
I hope people don't take me seriously on here.
That's not good, Gabe.
In all applications, or just
no.
I mean,
things? When it's very obviously tongue in cheek, don't do that. Don't you do that at all?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I think that it's one of those things where you're always nervous about it, but then when you're there, you realize that like almost half of the people there, if not more, feel the exact same way as you. So it just ends up being like, hey, it's just normal. And especially if you're going with people from like your, what is it called, junior high, right? Or what is it called? Like,
no, he's going to junior high from elementary.
Okay, elementary. That's what it's called. When you go from elementary to middle school, there's going to be people that you know for sure that go there as well. So
yeah,
he'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't know if I was ever like angsty like during like school. I was always fine, so I wouldn't be able to give any real input. But like, dude, just like be yourself. Like, that's the only thing that matters. That's all you can be, really. Like, try to get over this as quickly as you can, because you will get over it. Like at the end of this first school year, like none of this is going to even matter.
I was very anxious every school year, and the only thing I can say is don't think that everybody else has it together, because they're probably just as nervous or maybe even more nervous than you. So it's not like you're the only one feeling that way. So that's comforting to know that, hey, everybody has stuff. So just like Gabe said, be yourself.
Is this not normal though? Because look, from pre-K, which is when I was 4 years old, all the way until when I graduated high school, I went to every grade with the exact same. Like, my friend that I met when I was 4 years old, I just visited him in Houston like a week ago, so I still talk to this guy every day of my life, and he was there every day of school for me. So like, that's why it was never weird. Like, I wouldn't have to worry about hanging out with friends, because I had the same like 3 or 4 friends that I met since I was 4 years old, and they were there the entire time. So hopefully, you said his name's Nate or Nathan. Hopefully, if you have friends that you went to school with and are going over with you, even if you don't have the same classes, like in between classes, you get to like meet up in the hall, you get to have like lunches together. After school, you get to hang out and stuff like that. So it gives you something to look forward to each day as well. So keep in touch with the friends you make at an early age. It's important, I think.
It's good.
Yeah.
This is from Yoshi.
Oh, Yoshi wrote in, of course.
Hello, men of the Earth Realm. My name is Yoshi. You may know me somehow, but I need some relationship advice for you. I like this girl called Peach, but I've seen my friend kiss her so many times, and I don't know if they are a thing or not. This is just really annoying because I always help her and be around her, but I never really get noticed. I put my life in danger so many times for her, but nothing. Anyways, thanks and keep up the good work from the Mushroom Kingdom.
Now, how does this work? Because Yoshi is a dragon.
Yeah, a dinosaur.
A dinosaur.
Yeah.
And Peach is a human.
Yeah. Are you trying to make sense of this somehow?
I'm trying. That's for sure.
Yeah, you ever think about that? Like, what if your dog like falls in love with your wife or something?
What? Never. Not once in my life have I thought about that.
I mean, animals have feelings too.
All
right.
Wow.
Yoshi,
Oh,
I really think you should just give her a little lick. If Mario's kissing up in that face all the time, you've got
Hey,
tongue.
he never said it's Mario. How do you know?
Yeah, Peach is just kissing some other guy in her spare time.
You don't know.
Peach gets around.
Oh God, continue. These are all back to back too. I didn't pick this order. My name is Bobby. I am a squirrel and I live in a tree and I love video games. But if I play any video games in my treehouse, the system turns on and lights the branches on fire. What do I do?
Gabe, you should take this one. You got a lot of experience with that.
With what?
Squirrels.
Trees? Here's what you do, and this is
Why did you
this
pause
is
so
this
awkwardly?
this is because I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
All right, this is from the game, so I'm not making this up in my perverse mind. All right, here's what you do. Right, there's a sunflower. You go and you gather little groups of bees, and you take it to the sunflower because the sunflower is very ticklish. So once you get like 5 groups of bees, the sunflower it's covering up her boobs because she has giant boobs. And once she gets tickled, she has to laugh so hard that she releases her hands, and her boobs show. It's
What
not
does
real
this have
boobs.
to
It's
do
flower
with
boobs.
playing video games in a tree?
Yeah.
Conquers bad
Thanks,
fur day.
Gabe.
It's a squirrel.
I just gotta say that, like right now, I feel like I'm in a hotel. Like I've got this reminds me of like an ocean scene in my picture, my new artwork here.
Yeah.
I just feel the vibe is.
It's serene.
Christian also writes in
a
asking,
guy with a shotgun on his shoulder. How serene.
Christian, he's protecting the serenity. Christian writes in saying that he wants us to make a Can't Stop Dating podcast.
Hey, don't say that name again because someone's gonna take it.
Okay. Forget that we just said that. Also, by the way, the guy who said don't say his name on the podcast, I forgot to edit it out last week. I'm so sorry. I really apologize. I hope your girl didn't listen.
Dude, what if he was like wanted by the mafia and now they're gonna find him because of this podcast?
Yeah.
Mobsters can be in love too, you know.
I guess.
God, this is the weirdest episode we've ever done. Like there isn't even a close second. Like this one is just like first by
this
miles.
is a great one. Relationship issues from Noel or Noel. Noel. He's
Wait,
Noel.
can you say his name?
He says my name is Noel, and I'm currently entering my sophomore year in high school. So he's about 15, 16. I'm in the
P.S. Don't say my name.
I'm in the marching band. I play saxophone. I lead the section. I'm a librarian, which means I help find and print the sheet music. And whenever I have to spend time making copies of other librarian duties, I always spend the time catching up on your podcast. And I've gotten some of my fellow band officers who aren't even into games that much to listen to your personality-based podcast. My question for you is about my girlfriend. She was going to move in my area and go to the school I go to, but her father couldn't find a place for them to live. So we both agreed to try to make it work, even though we live across the city of San Antonio. Gabe, this might be in your wheelhouse.
The city's not even that big.
But with how busy our schedules will be with band and school and science fair and other things of that sort, librarian need, I'm questioning if it'd even be physically possible to sustain a healthy relationship. I don't know what I should do. We're just winging it for now, but I'd really appreciate any advice if we should stay together or separate based on the distance.
Well, the thing is, you wing it until it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
But I kind of like his foresight of like, this doesn't seem like it's going to work, and I don't know if it's going to...
but you also don't want to go in with the assumption of failure. Like, you don't know that that's how it's going to go. Like, what if this is... I mean, you're in the same city. Like, San Antonio is, like, big, sure, but it's not, like, crazy. It's not Houston big. It's not Austin big. So, what, you're maybe 30, 35 minutes away from each other?
He's 15, 16. Most likely doesn't have a car.
Dude, 16 years old, you can have a driver's license in Texas.
So he's going to just want for this girl every day without any means of seeing her on the daily, which is going to stress him out and probably make him not focused on his band, librarian, science for school stuff.
I mean, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it like, okay, I don't get to see her as much, but then, so when I do see her, it's that much more special. Okay. You know what I mean? So I might not get to see her every day, but then the weekend when I get to see her, I'm so looking forward to the weekend because, hey, I get to see this person that I really care for. You know what I mean? So you can look at it both ways. You can be all Zachary, or you can be all Gabe and be super positive about it. And like I said, don't go in expecting like failure. Like, dude, give it your best shot. Like, try it, and if it doesn't work out, then you handle it.
In his part time, by the way, Gabe writes Pokemon opening theme song. Give it your best shot, just believe.
Lie down on your bed, take 10 deep breaths, and really question yourself: is this girl super special and super wonderful, or is this just a hormone-driven excursion that I'm currently on?
Jesus.
And hold up. So it's like, is she the chocolate chip of my cookie, or is she just another girl on this planet? And is it worth all of this hassle and stress?
What hassle?
And whatnot? Or is it just like, hey, this is just a fling, and I might be able to find a better girl at my school who's 5 seconds away? Maybe right in your very own band.
I don't know.
A lesson I've learned that I'd like to convey to all of these questing youngins is that things typically are so much more significant and meaningful to you than a year or 2 years, or even outside the situation. You're like, why was I doing that? Why did I put myself through that? What was I thinking? And especially at that age, I just think you can get really wrapped up, and I'd hate to see his, what if he ggets his officership sucked away because he's spending so much time across San Antonio?
I mean, I guess.
All right.
Like, all these are scenarios.
They are, yeah.
Like
so,
I said,
what if this is the love of his life?
Yeah.
Huh?
So,
yeah.
Noel, you got this one. We trust you, man.
Yeah, but again, I say this all the time. Please write us in and update us on what happened.
David writes in with the email of the week. Hey guys, I found out this morning I'm going to be a dad. So a little clap for that. My wife and I...
My dream was a premonition.
Yeah. My wife and I are very happy about this, as we've been trying for a long time. And now we're at the point of brainstorming names, and we thought, hey, let's ask Zach, Max, and Gabe. It's too soon for us to
machine.
It's too soon for us to start talking about it with our close friends, so could each of you please give us your favorite boy and favorite girl name?
Toaster.
All right. Okay. I got serious.
Imagine, if you're a parent, though, wouldn't you want, imagine if you just name your kid something ridiculous like that. Like
Shoebox?
If you have two, let's say you have twins. You call one shoe, the other box. They're like, Shoebox, dinner's ready.
Oh, Max.
You just call them down. It'll be perfect.
Max, don't have children.
This is why Max didn't put husband on his gravestone, because his wife hated him for naming his kids after inanimate objects.
That's a good
throwback. I like that.
Yeah. All right. I'll throw out my serious ones. I like these names a lot. So for the male, I would name him Walter. I think that's a strong
serious?
name.
Yeah, that's from Breaking Bad.
Okay. All right.
No, not just that. I do believe it's a strong name.
It's a very strong name
for an 80-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna suck when your little tiny Walter is running across the room, but all right.
For the female, I would go with Emma. I think Emma is a very cute name.
Emma is a cool name. I like that name.
Yeah. So Walter for a male because it's strong. It commands authority, and you can call him Walt. It's a good name. Also, Breaking Bad helps. Emma, cute name, and I think females should be named cute names.
All right.
And
Max,
then Zach,
you're going with washing machine?
Well, I'll think about it. Maybe Shoebox.
Gosh.
No, I'm joking. I'll think about it.
I'm trying to think if I was going to... I've always thought about, if I had a kid...
Hulk.
Do you want to go referential, or do you just want to go standard? Do you want to do something that's, something that's popular... Hey, I really like the name... I don't like the name Elizabeth, but, I like the character of Elizabeth Spicer. So my kid's not going to know this, and most people aren't going to know this, but I'm going to call them something that means something to me, or I'm just going to pick, the sweetest sounding name.
Yeah, call her, Yoshi.
Elizabeth is a good name too. You get to call her Liz,
really like
Lizzie.
That name, but I do like names that have short versions, so I recommend that.
Liz. All names have
no,
short
that's not true.
versions,
What's the short version of?
Yeah, for a boy, I would call him Anthony, so he could be like Tony, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Or Ant. I have a friend. His name's Anthony. We call him Ant.
And then for a girl, Harley. So Harley.
There you
Quinn.
go.
Oh
Bam.
my god.
Harley's a
Or maybe
good
Bruce.
one. Gwen.
Bruce. You could call him Bruce.
Gwen is a good one.
Gwen. Well, Gwen didn't end very well.
What? Gwen's a good one though. The name. I'm not saying.
I mean, if you want, I really like the names in my family. Zachary, Jacob, and Noah. I think are great.
Wow. Selfish much? Selfish much?
Oh,
my
fine,
name's
name
pretty
it
great,
Gabe.
everyone.
Man, girls' names are hard. Like, I feel like honestly, this is so
Yeah,
bad.
girls' names are way tougher.
But I feel like there's some girls that like I'm like, wow, she's really nice and really really attractive, but her name just ruins it for me. Like I project myself in the future where I'm
Wait,
like,
really?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You've had girls that you thought were really nice, like as human beings, and you were attracted
name
to,
just
but
sucks.
because of the name,
no, not
you're
like.
well, that's a deal breaker.
No, I'm talking about more like thinking about it. Not like I actually was like, hey, like we can't be together because you're named like, Persephone or something.
Look, no, okay, Zach, and I'm
what a
not saying
weird
this for whatever reason you might think, but I do think the name Stephanie is a very pretty name.
I don't really like
think
that name.
I like that name. Max gave his. What are you gonna give?
Also,
yours?
like there's some names that are just like tarnished forever. Like I'm not gonna say which, but one of my past girlfriends, I really like that name, and now it's kind of just tarnished.
Yeah. Name him Sephiroth.
Okay.
Wait, that was your girlfriend's
Cloud.
name? Sephiroth?
Yeah, I am.
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, kind of for a while, there was a boy on a baseball team I coached named Carson, and I thought that was kind of an interesting name.
Carson.
Oh, that's a great name, Carson Palmer.
For girls,
Good
though,
quarterback.
Yeah, you'd want to go with something. Like, I don't know why. I feel like you want to go unique, but the problem is it's like, unless if you do something ridiculous, like
Yeah.
we said before,
Nevea.
you're not gonna like if you call them washing machine, that's about as unique as you're gonna get. But they're gonna hate you for the rest of your life until they can change their name.
I think I would want to find like either a Disney-related name or a game-related name.
Yeah.
Ariel
I think Hulk would be a cool name, actually.
for a boy,
Yeah, why not?
and he's really angry.
Look at little Hulk
I don't
running
know.
around.
I mean, name him Bruce if you want, but not Hulk.
What's wrong with Hulk? There's a football player whose name is Hulk.
Oh, well, hold on, a soccer player or a football player?
Soccer player.
We would know him if he played
Okay.
football.
I was gonna say I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah.
I can tell you that, David, if this helps you at all, when we didn't know if Noah was going to be a boy or girl, we were going to name him Catherine Grace, so he could be Katie.
Catherine. My one of my best friends, his daughter's name is Catherine.
What about Kit Kat?
Oh, come on, we gave you a lot of good ones. Don't listen to Max. Next question, Zachary.
Kit Kat is a pretty good name.
I feel bad that I can't, like, if I had a daughter today, I'd be like, screwed. I don't know.
If your last name
said-
is West, you could call it like North.
I don't really like a lot of, like, the traditional girl names. Like, I don't like Sarah at all. Sorry to all you Sarahs out there.
Sarah's a good
I
name
don't
as
like
well.
Gwen. I don't like
have
Elizabeth.
I've never had a problem with anyone's name. Literally, I've never like. It's like to me, it's just like that's your name, but like I've never had like, oh, I don't like that name.
Yeah, I've never had that either.
So
Never.
A name
I
that
don't
you
know
can
what
call
you're
them
talking
something
about.
short would be good. That's my recommendation. Let us know, David. Keep us posted.
like Kit Kat, for example, you could call her Cat or
Oh,
Kit,
jeez.
and you could always have a rake.
Oh my god.
God, this podcast today is like it's fried all my like.
This is what we get for recording on weekends.
Yeah.
And this is what we get for like after a few interesting questions.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Come on, Zachary.
Zach is completely out of it already as well.
He's saying, "Oh God."
He's like,
Uh,
you probably shouldn't read that one because you're kind of like already talking about the quality
Yeah.
of the email before you even like read it.
We have hundreds
Hold
of emails.
on.
I can't read one.
Hold on.
Wow, there's so many he can't choose one. Right, Zach?
What's up, Max? How you doing?
Not much. Just be mysterious and all. You know?
Yeah. Ooh, you can name the kid Mysterio. Put a fishbowl
That's
over his
good.
head.
Well, without the
Yeah.
fishbowl, just Mysterio. That could be a good
Yeah.
name. Why not? Mysterio?
Yeah.
You could call him Mist for short.
Another traumatic catch-up experience.
Oh, God.
This one's from Slickest Power.
He watches my streams. What's up,
All right,
Slickest?
he
How you doing?
says, when I was small, I was 6 years old.
Zach, what the?
What just happened?
Slickus, we're not laughing at you, Slickus, I promise.
I would always drink out of a sippy cup. My parents were trying to wean me off of my sippy cup. They said that's enough, and then it was time to stop me drinking out of a sippy cup.
Gabe, what happened? Gabe?
What
happened?
is it? I hope that's not going.
So one night I was chilling, drinking my milk, watching my favorite show, Power Rangers, until I tasted something nasty, so nasty that I wanted to immediately throw up. After my immediate throw-up session, I checked back in my sippy cup, and I saw that there was something that looked like blood on the inside of the cup. I was horrified. Not long after, my brother said, "That's not blood, that's ketchup." My parents diabolically put ketchup into my sippy cup to stop me from drinking the sippy cup. Well, it worked because I never drank from a sippy cup again, and a side effect that they didn't plan is that I'm traumatized by ketchup now. So the question he wanted to know is, did Gabe ever get traumatized by any of these weird foods that he doesn't like?
No. I've never tried them.
All right. Yeah.
I'm going to get you back to that.
This is a good question. Grant writes in saying, guys, what is the worst pain you've ever experienced? I'll let you know mine first. A few years ago, I was playing basketball in my driveway and was going up for a layup. Right before I jumped up, my neighbor's kid, who was about 4 years old, walked right in front of the hoop. I adjusted my body to avoid running him over, but in the process, rolled my ankle terribly when I fell. Wow.
What?
He fell.
No, but what did he say after? He's like, Lel. What are you trying
Maybe
to
it
say?
landed?
Oh, that was me saying fell as Lel.
What?
Oh, God.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what are you saying? Are you
After
okay?
I rolled...
All right. Like, you just had that was like a weird moment. He just completely was gone.
He hung around Randy Pitchford a little bit too much.
And I'm like, what?
I think the Germans put something in that
say...
salad.
He laughed out loud.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was saying.
We broke Zach. He's broken.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure.
After I fell, I proceeded to fall face forward, bringing my forehead full speed into the post of the basketball net. I got a concussion and a sprained ankle.
Oh, God.
What is your worst pain you've ever experienced?
I tore a ligament on my left foot once.
How?
Playing
basketball?
Playing basketball.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, I believe I got a mild concussion this past weekend. I won't get into how or why, but Lucy told me I might have had a concussion.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did she knock you out?
No, I really don't want to get into it.
Okay.
It's not.
You see, Gabe wants to take over the mysterious mantle.
That's it. No, young kids listening. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
For me, it was when I started to skateboard. I skateboarded for like a year, smooth sailing, no problems. Then we would always build these like ramps with like plywood and bricks. We'd just put like bricks and then plywood, and then we'd jump off of them. So
super safe.
Everything was going well until we built like this really high one, and we had people on bikes jump them before we jumped them on the skateboard. So it made the bricks like more shaky because your weight distribution is different.
Oh, that sounds
so
bad.
I went up, and then as I was going up the ramp, like when I got to the highest point, it just like collapsed on itself. So I just ended up like basically like sliding forward.
Ooh.
And yeah, that was the day that I quit skateboarding. So
I've
never broken a bone.
I haven't either. I have no serious injury, so I'll tell you Jake's, which is kind of funny. He was going
it was caused by you, wasn't it?
No, he was about let's see, I was like 13, so he was like 8, and he was 8 or 9. He was going to move a folding chair that had a vice grip on it. If you don't know what a vice grip is, it's like the thing that like holds something in place. We don't even need to get into why it was there, but he went to move the folding chair with the vice grip and picked it up, not realizing that the chair would fold and the vice grip would fall on his foot. I have never heard someone scream so loud in their lives. It was like about a 40-some pound vice grip, and on his tiny little foot, it crushed a bunch of bones in his foot, and he just shrieked so loud.
That's terrible.
We'll keep things...
What were you doing?
What was I doing? I was sitting on the couch
watching.
waiting for the movie that he was moving it out of the way for.
Oh,
brilliant.
Hey, you gotta have
the worst part about my ligament. I'm sorry.
Can I
but
finish
the
my
worst
story,
part about
Gabe?
my ligament is I had to wear that stupid boot.
I gotta finish my story.
That wasn't it?
Well, I was going to give you the punchline, which is that there's always got to be a manager and a muscle in a situation, but now it fails.
So you're the manager.
Anyways, Steven writes in.
That was good. That was a good story, Zach.
This is Steven from Ireland in Europe. In Europe, there's a show called the Eurovision Song Contest, which is huge.
What is wrong with you today, Zach? I lelled. This is Steven from Ireland in Europe. In Europe, in Ireland, in Europe. Like, okay, we get it. Like, why are you repeating everything so many times?
Yeah, this is a great episode.
There's a show in Europe called the Eurovision Song Contest, which is huge here.
Yes.
My question is whether you guys have heard of it and if you've ever seen it. I think Max may be the
Absolutely.
one who've heard of it. And if
I've
not,
heard
you
it.
guys should check it out. Love the podcast, Steven.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, I've never seen it. I hear it's hilarious.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
we used to watch it all the time because it's like it was a thing. Like Russia competes in it, so and so does Israel. So we would always like watch it. It was like a big event.
Did you ever compete?
Oh yeah,
Did
of
you ever
course.
rap?
As my rap group.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic.
Okay.
What? Jesus, Zach, you're so. What did you do in Germany?
I'm telling you,
What
they
is
put
this
something in me.
fitness- I'm telling you, this fitness salad was like
Yeah,
something
I
else
don't
instead
know.
of fitness salad because this is the weirdest you've ever been.
Yeah.
God,
Let me find one more. Hold on.
he's like crying. Wow, this is
Okay.
This is good. This is preparation.
Sunday
right here.
fun day.
22 episodes in, it feels like we're doing our pilot.
Yeah.
There's so many emails. It's hard to pick a final one.
Don't, wait, then don't make it fun. Get two more, and then you don't have to worry about this one being the
Okay,
final one.
all right. Let's
But
see.
pick both of them
Okay.
at once.
All right.
So fast.
Hi guys.
Okay, go.
I have two questions for you. So we'll just end with this one because there's two questions.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, it must be
All
the
right.
jet lag.
It must be something.
All right. One is more of a debate kind of question. The other is relationship advice because that seems to be the trend.
What?
How is this funny, Zachary?
What was that? The trend? What was that? Did you just like?
He says trend. He
No,
says,
no, I know, but his voice went like high pitched as he worked his way through the
All
entire
right.
word.
Dude, this whole email section has been pure gold.
Okay.
It's
Right,
amazing.
and-
He's crying.
Okay.
Did you see his face?
Okay.
All right. I know you guys don't talk much about Halo, but I wanted to know if you guys have been following any of the cool stuff they've been doing at the Hunt the
Is this
Truth
the relationship
podcast.
question?
No.
Oh, okay.
Could other game franchises try some of the cool stuff Halo's done, like I Love Bees and this podcast called Hunt the Truth? What do you think about games that do sort of like extra things? Do you like where they kind of come into the real world like that? And we haven't seen a whole lot of ARGs this gen, so I thought this was a nice question. If you thought that would be cool, if like all of a sudden, you know, like Scalebound dropped a dragon into a city or something, and like, you know what I'm saying?
Nope. I've not been aware of what
Or
you're
like
saying for the last
Quantum Break, you know, like
hour. You look drunk, Zach. I swear. The way you're talking right now, it looks like you just like
I don't
did
know what's
50
wrong.
shots.
I don't even like it. All right, so ARGs or like games doing big
Yes.
hype things like that.
Oh my god.
Did you ever partake in any? Do you like it? Do you think it'd
Gabe,
be cool?
you should take this one.
I didn't hear the question.
This is a
No, ARGs, right?
yeah.
Because Halo is doing all the Hunt the Truth. Yeah, I heard it. All right. Metal Gear sort of did it for a little bit before we knew it
Now
was
we all
Metal
know
Gear
what
back when it was
ARG means, right? So just for the audience, I absolutely know what it stands for, but for the audience, if you could could you say what it means?
Sorry, augmented reality game.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
Of course, we all knew that.
I think it's pretty cool. You know, it is interesting. Like, could they do more build up? Like, would that be cool if, for example, you know, Evolve had put out lore videos on their monsters that have, you know, built more things, or, you know, for some of the more upcoming games, if Uncharted started like dropping maybe even like a prequel movie or something about his brother, or, you know, things that tie in to sort of extend the world beyond the disc. I think that is very cool. It's probably not very cost effective and probably doesn't have very many returns.
There is it's not so much a conspiracy theory anymore, but at first the whole Kojima stuff, they said like that's like this big marketing thing that you know, everything's signed, and like I said, even before it was Metal Gear 5 when it was just a Phantom Pain, and they announced it as that other thing that was sort of ARG-ish, and they had that website right before, with the countdown where. They did that.
But that's a lot more marketing things. Like, I think that if you do something, I think you do stuff like the Halo podcast that they're doing. Like, that stuff is cool because it's actually, like, content. It's not just like, hey, check out this website. It has random letters in it. Try to scribble the Scrabble. Like, it's...
But more traditionally, that's what ARGs are referred to. the weird, super cryptic stuff.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that stuff because that's just marketing. I think if you do cool stuff like what you said, like lore and like little type things, or maybe a show, or like the developers like discussing like, hey, we worked like this type of mechanic, and
what do they talk about in Hunt the Truth? Do you know what? Okay, something Halo. I mean, I thought like. I was disappointed.
From what I heard, they just like explore the stories and like talk about like the lore of Halo.
I was disappointed it wasn't BioShock, but I thought the thing they did with the XCOM 2 reveal, where it was like a website and the website would sort of like decay over time, like something was taking it over, kind of just cool ways. I mean, teasers, I think more are interesting ways to build hype. I wish games did more like the Phantom Pain did, where it reveals itself to be one thing. It's like, oh my god, like that holy crap moment would be really cool.
Even though everybody right away was like, that's Metal Gear.
Yeah, I know, but just I think it adds a little bit of
sure. No. I mean, like,
yeah.
Look, that's fun. That's for sure. But I also wish that we would get more stuff like where the company would put out like, instead of spending $100 million on marketing, take like 90 and then take that 10 and put it into like stuff where, hey, let's get the developers in a room once a week and discuss something about the game, or like the lore, or explain some characters. And I think that's interesting. So
yeah, for sure.
You know who's been good about stuff like that recently? Double Fine. They did the whole little documentary thing for
that's
their
true.
game.
Sure. Yeah, stuff like that.
Some
cool
stuff.
And what's the other question? Final question?
Final question is, the reason I haven't mentioned my name is in case this somehow finds my girlfriend. She has a habit of finding out things in the weirdest ways.
Did you say his name at the beginning?
No, I didn't. Okay. We dated for almost 4 years now, and she asked me the dreaded question recently that no guy knows how to answer. Do you think I've put on weight? I, of course, terrified for my life, said no, I think she looks the same, but in reality, she kind of has, and I don't know how to tell her. If you guys give me some advice about these kind of awkward questions so I don't end up saying the wrong thing and never hearing the end of it, I'd really appreciate it. Love the podcast. Honestly, look forward to it every week. Gives me something to do at my job and my long rides home. Keep it rolling.
What I will say is, when they ask you that, they know the answer. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like she's, like, oblivious to the fact that she put on some weight. Like, no one is. Like, she's just sort of seeing what you would say. I think you made the right move by just not acknowledging it and sort of just saying, like, no. I think that's, like, the only move you can make. Because you saying, like, yeah, maybe you gained a little bit, but, you know, let's work on losing it if that's what you want, or, you know, you still look beautiful, whatever the case may be. Dude, you can't turn it into a positive. You just
but
can't.
It's not a positive.
You
it's
can
not
try.
A positive.
Let's work on losing it. That's the worst answer to that question ever.
No, or what if you say, like, maybe a little bit, but you still look beautiful?
Let me ask
and
you,
I don't
as someone
notice
who's in currently the longest and most serious relationship by far of any of us, there's obviously pluses and minuses and ups and downs in life and people in general. And so, like, rather than trying to, like, mirage something negative as a positive, isn't it okay, like, to call someone out on something? Like, okay, say, Gabe, you were being really grumpy every morning, and Lucy came to you and was like, Gabe, like, we need to work on getting you better sleep or something, because, like, I can't handle your grumpiness in the morning. Like, you wouldn't be like, hey, Gabe, like, or hey, Lucy, like, shut up, don't tell me that negative thing. Like, so, I don't know. It just seems very movie-esque to think, like, oh, just make sure everything's, like, golden and pretty all the time.
Well, no, of course not. But, like, dude, you'd never tell a girl that she's gaining weight because they take that super personal. Like, they really do. It's a thing. Like, it's not a stereotype, like, for
I don't
no
think
reason.
that a guy would be particularly, like... I think it's just, like, a human thing, no? Like, we're all so self-conscious of, like, our appearance because of society.
I don't even want to speak on for women because I'm not a woman, so I don't know. But
okay,
yeah, I'm not trying to, like, paint everything like rosy because things aren't rosy. Like you said, like me and Lucy have been together for like 5 years now, so not every moment of those 5 years is like perfect. It never is, but you work on it, and I've said this before. As long as you keep growing and learning from each other and just keep that respect, that's all that matters. So. I don't know. Just don't tell her she gained weight. But that's my opinion.
I would just... I guess it depends on the relationship. You've been there for 4 years, so I would assume that you have a rapport that she's not going to think you're just being a jerk or like, oh, she's going to run away. Like, then if it's a conversation you need to have about whatever or not or who cares, yeah, but I don't know. I don't like lying. That's just my thing.
Well, you're not lying. You're just don't respond. Like, matter of fact, when she asks, walk away. Don't say a single thing.
That sounds real great. Real great.
Yeah.
A lot of emails still from this week that we didn't get to, but we're going to push some of those next week. Nonetheless, keep them coming. We'll keep filing through them.
There's another show this week.
This week, yeah. So we will be coming back. And finally, we've got a lot of questions. We will be asking or answering the long-awaited question of who won the console. I'm back from Germany now, so I actually can handle that, and we'll pick it for this Friday's show, episode 23. Also, let's do a little Hype City before we get out of here. And I wanted to ask if anyone out there is musically talented and wants to write us a jingle, an audio blip, something for Hype City. I would really love that. So
Hype City, Hype City,
okay.
Yo.
Yeah,
Hype City, yo.
If you're as talented or close to Max, then feel free to just send us.
Yeah.
Well, let's just take that sound bite.
Let's do it. Okay. We can all do it each of us can do that same thing, but a different way. Like, okay, Gabe, it's your turn. My turn. Hype City. Hype City. All right. So I got to see a lot of cool stuff. So my Hype City.
So bad this week.
My
Okay,
Hype
go
City,
ahead.
as I ride this glorious train, is Halo 5. And we'll talk about it more in detail next week. But I was really impressed with where that game is going, how much I feel, their prowess has clearly picked up pace. Halo 4 was borrowed from Bungie, and a lot of people didn't like it. I think Halo 5, the fact that 343 owns it, is going to be a great game. I really like the squad concept. I like the idea of 8 primary characters in the game, Lock Squad, Chief Squad. I think the new skills look pretty cool. They showed them like blasting through walls and different things that look awesome. The multiplayer has a bunch of different modes and seems very cool and well thought out. They're committed to free content to keep the player base together. The campaign is supposedly twice as long as Halo 4. It's like they really also, and we'll get into this next week, but like a much greater commitment, it seems, to story, and I'll talk about that. But I wasn't really excited for it. Super excited.
And
also,
a really cool collector's edition.
What does it have?
It's like it's got Locke and
the statue,
Chief
yeah.
going through like this mountainous type.
Plus, they have that console.
Yeah. The
Oh,
controller
yeah, the
looks really
console.
cool.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that they downgraded it from mature to teen, because that means that I'll get to play it with both my brothers and we can co-op together, which will be really fun.
Plus, I never thought that Halo needed mature, because
it didn't
I
need it.
never feel like they explored any very mature themes. Like if you think about it.
No,
So-
it's just killing.
Yeah, but I mean, like they use aliens, so most of the
Right,
time
right.
you
It's
can
like,
get
how is
away with
Halo
teen.
mature but Uncharted is teen? That makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, sounds good.
Gabe,
For me,
or Max, yeah. Sorry.
For me, it would be. I just saw some footage from that Mad Max game,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why. I know that it's not going to be great. It's not.
It's out in 3 or 4
Yeah,
weeks.
but I don't know why. It just looks like a really fun game. The driving mechanics look really cool, and it looks like basically like a very violent Mario Kart at times, which is good and interesting. So I want to try that game out. So looking
Sweet.
forward to that one.
And soon.
And Gabe,
Yeah.
take us home.
2. One of them is tonight,
What does that mean?
which is the finale of True Detective. People haven't liked this season at all. And I agree, it's not as good as last season, like, whatsoever. But, I don't know, maybe I like being depressed on Sunday nights sometimes. That show, I still like it. I like it. And I thought the last episode was really good, so I'm excited for that
people have
ending
said
tonight.
that the last episode 7 was like insane, and then people have been saying
a major character
people have
died
said
that
episodes 1
people
through
love.
3 is awful.
I
Because
just
I've been wanting to watch it, but my friend told me like 1 through 3 is going to be hard to get through. 4, 5, and 6 is going to be alright. 7 is great.
I love those posters that say, like, missing True Detective, like, can't find any interest or whatever. Like, have you seen those?
Yeah. No, dude, episodes 1 through 3 aren't as bad as people make them seem. Like, because
you have to
it's
be
a little bit hard.
compared to the previous, right? Like, look, when you're
Yeah, and that's what makes it. Like, it's still like a great season of television.
it's just not a good
season of television.
season
It's just,
of True Detective.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah. That's exactly where I'm at. But dude, it's really picked up in the last 2 episodes. And besides that, Metal Gear is coming.
Yes,
like,
it is.
oh, man,
That's soon.
it's definitely
Do you think they're going to start hyping that? Because it feels like, I know they do a bunch of trailers, but it's like, that game comes out in 3 weeks. Are we going to start getting like TV ads, internet ads, more info?
I don't know, man. I don't understand what Konami's doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Konami
I
is
don't-
very interesting
They're a fun company.
yeah.
company.
And we hope you had fun with the show. Quite the can't stop laughing, basically, is what today boiled down to. It was good. We'll be back soon with another show for you guys.
And like June, in like 4 days. Is this going to?
It's something like that. We'll be back with another show soon. Thank you guys and girls for listening. We love you.
Sorry, guys.
Shout out.
What is
Hold up.
Dude, what's...
Okay, fine. I'm going to start the show off with it next week. Give them a little bit more of a spotlight. All right.
Who? What? Where?
Mystery,
when?
man. Wait for your shout out next episode. You know who you are. I know he knows who he is. Thanks, guys and girls, for listening. We hope
Bye.
you're having a great week. Till next time, we will see you all later.
Alligators. Bye-bye, guys.